Courtroom on a battery case. Avoid immigration agents by sneaking him out through a private exit. Meantime, outside federal courts in Milwaukee, dozens of Dugan supporters.
You don't handcuff her and humiliate her.
That's not the America that I know.
The federal judge overseeing Dugan's case moving it forward, setting a trial date for late July.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Dugan's attorneys are trying to have the case dismissed, claiming judicial immunity. The U.S. Supreme Court hearing a challenge to a Trump order on birthright citizenship, with arguments over the larger question of district judges issuing nationwide injunctions. America is listening to Fox News.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
No question, an early summer feel. 93 for the high this afternoon, 94 the record from 1944. Partly to mostly sunny skies, a little windy, just a slight chance of a spot late day thunderstorm. All is quiet tonight. Partly cloudy, 63. Friday, partly sunny, 91. Couple of scattered late day thunderstorms on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
And a lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, I'm usually much more active, but since I've been in pain, I've had to limit the activities I'm doing.
You're listening to Janelle, an arch support specialist at the Good Feet store.
So he came in and he wanted to be able to keep up, play sports with his kids. And from there, we figure out which arch supports complement those activities. I fit him with the arch supports, and as I followed up with him, he's messaged me and said, I took my kids to the park today. We're walking, we're exercising, riding the bikes, and those are all things that he wasn't doing before because he was in pain.
For over 25 years, the Good Feet store's arch support specialists have been helping folks to live the life they love without foot, knee, hip, or back pain getting in the way.
Our goal is to have that long-term change for them. That's what's most important, is knowing that you leave an impact on someone's life. And I like that.
Try them for yourself. Stop in for a free personalized fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
Go to retirementkey.com. When you log into retirementkey.com, you're going to see that we have an event coming up, and I'm excited to be a part of it. Call 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494, and figure out how you can schedule your spot. You bring a friend, bring your spouse, bring a brother or a sister for the Tuesday, May 20th, Frontenac Hilton, 6:30 p.m., Protecting Your Retirement educational event. When you show up for this, it doesn't cost you anything. We do need you to reserve your spot to make sure we have room in the room for everybody who's going to attend. But you're going to spend from 6:30 p.m. till maybe 7:15 p.m. learning how you can protect your retirement, of course, with the Retirement Advisory Group at zero cost to you. It's just a listening session. If you show up early, about 10, 20, 30 minutes early, I get there at 6 o'clock, and from 6 to 6:30, I would love the opportunity to meet you. Mark Cox and Mark Reardon will be there as well. It's Tuesday, May 20th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30 p.m., retirementkey.com.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com or in stores at your local CVS.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
The argument's going to be, what did the founders intend when they came up with birthright citizenship? This administration says it's an emergency now. It's completely out of control that people come here, have no legal status, and then have a child that's a complete U.S. citizen. They say it's got to stop. This president made it a priority on day one to issue that executive order. It may be a while before we know if that order survives on the merits, but we may get to those nationwide injunctions much sooner.
Shannon Bream speaking about what the Supreme Court is listening to, hearing when it comes to President Trump's and his executive order, which puts an end to birthright citizenship the way that it has been implemented. A lot of people would refer to it as anchor babies. That's what's going to be heard. We're going to speak with Hans von Spakovsky about that in 18 minutes from now. How do you like that? 18 minutes, we'll have Hans on here, and we'll discuss with him what the arguments are on behalf of Donald Trump's position and the administration's position, what the amendment actually says, and what he anticipates is the likelihood of Donald Trump winning this court case. I know a lot of people are very leery to predict what the Supreme Court is going to do, but we will wait and see. Ed Martin joins us at 1:25 as well, and we're going to talk to Ed Martin about what the left and what the Democrats have done with our Justice Department, or with the, I should say, the third branch of government, the judicial branch, where we see activist judges, we see activist prosecutors. He was not going to get confirmed for that D.C. prosecutor job, and he got removed from that. And as it says here in my paper, he is now the Trump weaponization czar. Is that really a legit title that he's got?
Yeah, that's what they sent me.
That's what he sent you, or that's
Yes,
what the administration?
That's what his people sent me.
Yeah, okay, we'll ask Ed Martin to define what does Trump weaponization czar mean. He is an associate deputy attorney general as well. So Ed Martin will be with us at 1:25 and Tyrus at 1:05. And I don't really know that I can discuss this with him a whole lot on the air because it's much more of a visual thing. But have you seen baby Tyrus on X?
Oh, no, I haven't.
You haven't? Have you
man.
seen all the other baby stuff?
Oh, I've seen all the other ones.
I don't know.
I saw Steve Bannon today.
Yeah, baby Bannon. I don't know where the baby stuff started. Because, to me, it started in politics. But that doesn't mean that it started in politics. That's just where it came across my life. But I watched the Sicilian showdown from The Princess Bride as babies.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday, too.
Classic. I could just watch it over and over again. And the funny thing about, if you haven't seen this yet, get on X. If you've never been on X before, Twitter, this is the time to do it. I haven't seen it permeate any other social media that I have yet. I'm sure it will be, again, if it hasn't yet. And maybe I've just missed it. But artificial intelligence has captured absolute lookalike experiences, things you've seen, things you've heard. They can take words that have been said and speech by a person and then apply it to a baby version that you can absolutely tell is the person that it's mimicking. And the baby is as cute as can be and is sitting there and saying things like, you can watch baby Trump negotiate with baby Zelensky. That's fun, especially in my world. That is the spice of life that I need injected into the muck and the grime of politics day after day after day. But they did Gutfeld and Emily Compagno and Gutfeld and Tyrus, and there's a comedian on there. I couldn't pinpoint the comedian that was with them. It's just the best.
I haven't seen the Gutfeld one. I've seen a
That's where
lot of the
Tyrus
other
is.
ones.
And he's sitting there with his hat on backwards, and he's got his 5 o'clock shadow going on, and it's just so cute. My favorite ones, though, that I absolutely can't pass up on, the little baby videos. It's Theo Von.
I was going to say the same thing.
I think Theo Von is like an attraction. Like in and of itself, if you're not familiar with, now listen, okay, like Dad, don't partake in Theo Von. Dad, you're not going to think Theo Von is funny. Theo Von is not for you. You can dip in and see what kind of depravity your daughter's taking in. But if you're not my dad and you're anyone else, I don't know. Is there an age range? He's our age.
Is he?
Yeah, he's early to mid 40s.
I would say that you could still enjoy Theo Von if you're older than us.
Yeah.
But I don't know where the cutoff is either.
Have you ever watched somebody watch something that you think is absolutely hilarious? And it's not that they don't get it. They don't like it to the point where they're almost offended that you thought that they would think that was funny. I'm talking to you, Dad. Don't watch it. But everybody else should watch it.
But the baby ones are so good.
He's so cute.
And it boils down the best of Theo Von into a video, and then it's also a baby.
Yeah.
So.
Theo Von just says things that are so ridiculous, but at the end you're like, he kind of has a point. In some cases, he kind of has a point.
The one I think that you're probably referring to is the
drowning?
one where he's talking about how he wouldn't save a woman from a tsunami.
No, he said that the point is that he would never, one of his main turnoffs is a woman who can't swim.
Yes.
Yeah. And he alliterates that, for instance, the reason why it would be a big turnoff for a woman not to be a swimmer is because if there's a tsunami and she jumps on my back, he's like, and I quote, no.
I ain't no floaty.
Yeah, I ain't no floaty. Yeah. Check out the baby stuff. Maybe we could share some. Maybe I'll share some of these on the breaks on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Some of my favorite. I'll definitely get up baby Tyrus and Gutfeld
we gotta see that
before, because I'm going to ask him about that. Did he confirm today?
He has not confirmed yet.
He's not confirmed. Every week, this is how the Tyrus thing goes. He's got a bazillion things going on, and we get him about 6 out of 10 times, which is fine. And we have that agreement with him, like, this is our slot. And if if he's got a big Fox thing, we understand that. Mm-hmm. But if he's there, we're talking baby Tyrus.
Well, the baby videos are cool though, because I saw Jack Posobiec post one today of Stephen Miller. Now the video itself was not much of one because it's just a baby Stephen Miller, bald baby.
But it's his voice
standing there. But it communicates a point in a cute way, and you're like, oh, I wouldn't have listened to that clip otherwise.
Little baby Trump, he'll have the blue suit on and the red tie. One time he had on the orange trash chute or whatever it was. I don't know.
Doing the little okay hands.
This is why the internet is great. There's so many terrible things that exist on the internet. Of course, it's just a endless depth of knowledge if you want to learn about things. But the fun things, that's where I really appreciate it. And I'm just laying in bed at night scrolling and just chuckling to myself, not even listening to them, just looking at their cute little baby faces. They're so cute. How'd the show go yesterday? I was not here.
It was fantastic.
I thought you were going to say fair. Should I go home? Because I could go home today.
No.
Fun.
I think we are glad to have you here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily love it when you're gone, but we make the best of it. And I tell you what, I think the best moment we had yesterday was talking to Joe Concha.
Yeah?
Yeah, we talked to him for a long time. We at the end of it, he goes, "Are we doing a podcast? Is this the thing?" I said, "No, we just have nothing this hour other than you." So that was a good.
We didn't overstay our welcome, did we?
We might have.
Oh, great.
Well, he did at the
I'll
end
text
say,
him and apologize.
"We'll come back next week."
Yeah, he said, "Let's do this again next week."
Okay. With you guys? Am I off?
I don't know. We didn't clarify.
Is it warm in here?
It's been warm.
Is it warm? Okay.
It's warm outside.
So I got smacked in the face. Let's see. Today's Thursday. Not my week's all screwed up. Tuesday night, we're going to state track this weekend for my daughter. She's competing in the state track meet this weekend, which is exciting. And Tuesday night, after all the things get done, we go to work out at the track. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, man, my throat does not feel right. You know how it creeps in at first?
It's a little drip.
And then, okay. My throat starts to hurt. And I woke up the next morning at about 5 o'clock, and it felt like razor blades in my throat. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, this is terrible. So I tried to do all the things to make it get better, and it was not getting better. So thank you for letting me have the day off. I stayed in bed all day. I got out of bed to go get my kids from school at 3 o'clock and then came back home and crawled back in bed. And And I was just thinking to myself, like, in this business, if I sound bad, that's not good. I can't come in and sound bad. But I at least still have a voice. You can probably hear it a little bit in my voice compared to normal, but it's not like I'm super hoarse or super scratchy or whatever. So I'm just going to soldier through. And I asked Ryan, I'm like, can you guys help me if I need help along the way? And he told me no. And so then I was like, well, then I guess I'll have to come in and do it myself.
If you run out of steam at any point, I'm just going to have the folder open with all the stuff. All the stuff we've ever played, all the material. And we're just going to go to it.
It's just going to be a roast of me.
Yeah, kind of.
And I'm not going to be able to say anything to stop it.
It's kind of the idea.
But it being warm in here right now is tripping me out.
It's not helping.
I'm glad that you said it's warm because I haven't had a fever through any of this. And right now I'm going, I don't know if I'm good.
87 degrees outside, so the building's catching up.
Does it have to be 87 degrees in here?
Yes, it does. Yeah, that's the way it works.
Okay.
So I'm here to help.
YouTube live chat poll.
Okay.
Did you have a clip for this?
Yeah, it's at the very bottom of the clip sheet.
Okay. Is it on my sheet?
Not the printed one.
Oh.
This is the first time I've seen the YouTube live chat poll.
Just right now?
Just right now. I didn't see it ahead of the show.
How come?
I don't know. I just missed it.
What were you doing?
It's great. I was actually doing a little X's and O's prep for tomorrow.
And tomorrow we have I think it's Point Pest Control, right?
Yes, yep, Point Pest Control.
Okay, I cannot wait to have them in. Point Pest Control, my favorite people. Let's play this clip here real quick before I read you the YouTube live chat poll because I still can't believe that this is real. Let's listen in here to Harris Faulkner.
Hearing at Capitol Hill, don't any of them know that Senator Cory Booker can stay up for 16 days to try to get some attention? Anyway, this image shows this hilarious moment when Democrat Congresswoman Debbie Dingell from Michigan was slumped in her seat. Her eyes were closed. Oh, my goodness. Democrat Congressman.
Did you see the town hall tweet on that? No. Okay, I'm gonna just push this back here a little bit. And Ryan, real quick, as Harris Faulkner is reading this, read town hall's tweet.
Debbie Dingell is not woke.
That's great.
Democrat Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky from Illinois was spotted taking a snooze in the hearing room. Uh-oh. Hello. Another clip from around 5 a.m. this morning shows Republican Congressman Blake Moore from Utah out cold.
Miss Tinney.
Slow pan.
Miss Tinney, no. Mrs. Fishbach. Mrs. Fishbach, no.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore.
Can we get this Mr. Moore quote for like an intro for Steve Moore?
Oh my gosh, he is out.
Oh, and he sits up.
Mr. Moore, no.
So this is a bipartisan problem, and this is like in a day's time. What is going on? The only thing that I'd like to know more information, and it might be out there, Mr. Moore has a sling on. So I wonder if he's got his arm in a sling, if he's injured, and if in some way, shape, or form he's maybe medicated for pain, which can make you sleepy. Why are they falling asleep on the job? Gosh. YouTube live chat poll, have you ever fallen asleep on the job, yes or no? Don't answer yet.
Okay.
I'm going to just vote yes for Ryan. You have to have fallen. Don't tell. 2 o'clock hour, 2:05, we will discuss this and see if anybody here on the show has some stories to tell on themselves. Now, granted, have any of us ever done anything as important as represent an entire constituency in the House of Congress while we fell asleep? Not yet. But it is a bipartisan affair. 2 Democrats and a Republican walk into Congress. 3 of them fall asleep.
One of them's name was Debbie Dingell.
Debbie Dingell.
I just love that.
That kind of gives on its own.
Debbie Dingell. I love Debbie Dingell. Any story about Debbie Dingell, I'm in.
I need to know, though, your thoughts on the Annie Fry YouTube poll, like the comments of what you think should happen, because I would venture to say that more of us than we probably think have had an accidental snoozer for whatever particular reason. A little quick nap that maybe you didn't intend while you're at work, possibly. Can you do it while you're supposed to be voting in Congress is the real question. So, looking at Scooter's comment right here, he said, they're human. They got tired and dozed off. That is a reality that a lot of people might really, if you really come down to it, and I think it's especially important that there are Republicans and Democrats doing this. So you can't just be like, the Democrats aren't even there to do their jobs. It's on both sides of the aisle, people. Let us know what you think on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Hans von Spakovsky on birthright citizenship next.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
TheDiamondShop.net. We are waiting to see you. If you are looking for something for graduation, this is a great time to get a memento. And yeah, it's not going to be like thousands of dollars of jewelry for the graduate, but if you want to give your loved one who's just graduating something special for graduation, you want to go to the Diamond Shop. This is timeless stuff, folks. All watches are 20% off, even Movado watches. Men's jewelry is 40% off, and there is 40% off the gold fashion jewelry. Everything else in the store, 30% off. So if you're looking for that timeless, precious gift to mark the occasion for graduation, this is the time to get to the Diamond Shop. Also, if you become a VIP, you're going to get to save a little extra. In-stock jewelry through May 31st, you get an extra 10% off that in-stock jewelry if you're a VIP, and it's real simple to sign up. Just go to thediamondshop.net and sign up there to become a VIP, and tell them the Annie Fry Show said hi when you stop by in Clayton. Thediamondshop.net.
Let me tell you one of the reasons I think we became the largest injury firm in the world, and it's not even close. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My wife and I had a plan early on. In our firm, our lawyers only work on certain types of cases. Our products liability and dangerous drug lawyers only work on those cases. Same for car crashes, workers' compensation, medical malpractice, and insurance disputes. Our thinking is for these lawyers to focus on one area of the law and live it and breathe it. Power comes from knowledge. Many lawyers do everything, jack of all trades. Not us, and we don't charge an hourly rate. You only pay us if we win. If you want to hire us, it's easy. Dial Pound Law on your cell phone, pound 529, or visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer from the comfort of your own home. Let us get to work for you. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Retirement statements just hit mailboxes, and for many, the shock is real. Some investors lost 20% or more in just the first quarter. If you're close to retirement, that's more than a dip. It's a danger. But here's what most advisors won't tell you. Gold was up over 30% during the same time. That's a 60% swing. And in retirement, that kind of gap can change everything. So compare your Q1 statement to gold's performance. Then call Noble Gold Investments. Noble Gold specializes in helping people protect what they've earned with real assets like gold and silver. If you're tired of watching your nest egg shrink, it may be time for a change. And right now, when you open a qualified account, you'll receive a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar. Compare and call 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. Or visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
I promise that you'll never find another like me. I know that I'm a hero.
This is The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Never find another like me.
Decide whether or not the government is entitled to do this under the law. Wouldn't having universal injunctions actually facilitate that? It seems to me that when the government is completely enjoined from doing the thing it wants to do, it moves quickly to appeal that, to get it to the Supreme Court, and that's actually what we would want. What I worry about is similar to what Justice Kagan points out, is that if the government is saying no lower court can completely enjoin it, it actually means that the government just keeps on doing the purportedly unlawful thing, and it delays the ability for this court to reach the underlying issue.
Percolation of novel, sensitive constitutional issues is a merit of our system. It is not a bad feature of the system.
Thank you.
Thank you, counsel.
So there you had Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson arguing for these nationwide injunctions. And as I always say, not a legal expert, but we are friends with legal experts. Let's speak to Hans von Spakovsky.
We, the people of the United States,
More perfect.
in order to form of our perfect union.
Heritage legal expert Hans von Spakovsky.
Well, Hans, it is great to have you on the show today to talk to us about what is going on with the Supreme Court. And you heard Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson there talking about these nationwide injunctions. Can I ask you a super basic question first here? I want to know, what is a nationwide injunction?
It's when a single federal district court judges, which are the lowest judges on the totem pole, they only are supposed to have jurisdiction over their particular area where they're seated. And in many states, for example, there may be 2 or 3 or more districts. In a nationwide injunction, the judge says, I'm ordering the government to stop what it's doing, and I'm ordering that happen everywhere across the entire country.
That's a lot of power.
Not just in my jurisdiction.
So this has happened. The president has signed so many different executive orders, but we've seen these nationwide injunctions implemented. How did this get to the Supreme Court?
Well, in this particular case, and a lot of people, I think, were believing that the case today was going to settle the issue of birthright citizenship. Is Trump correct or are the challengers correct? That's not why the case was at the court. What happened was liberals filed lawsuits against Trump's executive order in several different states, Washington, Maryland, Massachusetts, and judges in each of those states issued injunctions saying, you can't enforce this executive order. So what the Trump administration did is they filed an emergency request with the U.S. Supreme Court not to decide the underlying issue, but to stop or stay portions of those injunctions. And they didn't even ask for a complete stay. What they simply asked for was they said, look, these injunctions should only apply to the named parties in the case. In other words, for example, in one of the cases, I think 5 pregnant women sued, and yet the judge said, in essence, well, this will apply to all pregnant women everywhere in the country. And what the government is saying is, no, that's wrong. The injunction should only apply to the people who are actually in the case. And that, by the way, is in accord with prior Supreme Court precedent. At one point, I think it was Sotomayor was saying, oh, you guys, you, the government, you're violating all these prior Supreme Court precedents. I don't know what she's talking about. That's wrong. It's these judges who are actually violating prior Supreme Court precedents.
So Hans von Spakovsky speaking with us right now, of course, a legal fellow with Heritage Foundation and an expert there on topics like these. The Supreme Court ruling, you're saying that at the end of this hearing, there's not going to be a definitive ruling on birthright citizenship. Is that correct?
That is exactly right. What's going to happen is the Supreme Court is going to issue an order either allowing the injunctions the way they're issued now to remain in place while remember, these were preliminary injunctions. So there's still going to be a trial. Then it gets up to the courts of appeals before it eventually gets to the Supreme Court. Or they're going to cut back on the injunctions that have been issued the way the government is asking for it. By the way, Sonia Sotomayor, ever since she's been on the court, she has been the rudest, nastiest justice on the court. When somebody shows up in front of her, either representing the Trump administration or any conservatives, she always asks the nastiest questions and acts as if, and she did it again today to the point where the Chief Justice stopped her because she kept interrupting the lawyer for the Justice Department and wouldn't let him finish answering questions.
But just in that line of information, what happens? What happens to an unruly justice?
Well, the only thing that can happen is the Chief Justice steps in and tries to make them behave. And in this case, Sonia Sotomayor, she subsided when, once again, Sotomayor was interrupting the answer that the government's lawyer was trying to give, a guy named John Sowers.
Yeah.
And the Chief Justice came in and said, "Excuse me, but I'd like to hear his answer." So she subsided after that.
Hush, hush. He needs to learn to give those mom church eyes over to the just daggers over that way. A little bit more on that, just because I'm curious. Can Congress impeach a justice?
Oh, sure. And a very long time ago, at the very beginning of the nation, there was an attempt to impeach a Supreme Court justice. Yeah. Everyone who is an officer of the United States in either the judiciary branch or the executive branch can be impeached by Congress.
Yeah. I'm not suggesting that that's what needs to happen, but I was just curious where the check and balance was.
Hans, this is Ryan.
Yeah.
I was listening to Fox News today. They were playing clips from these hearings, and Amy Coney Barrett was one that they were playing, and I listened to it very intently and then came away going, I still have no idea what I just listened to. Thank God we're talking to Hans today. Is there any indication that you got from this hearing of where the justices stand on this issue, or is it just wait and see?
Well, there's no question where the three liberal justices stand. Kagan, Sotomayor, Brown, Jackson. They clearly, if they could, I'm sure they would rather not just rule on the procedural question here, but basically rule entirely on the merits of the birthright citizenship case. They're not going to be able to convince, I don't think, the six other justices to do that. But how will they come down on it? I really couldn't tell from the questioning.
And then furthermore, since you mentioned it with the birthright citizenship, is that something that we eventually will get from the Supreme Court, just not now?
Yes, we will. No matter what happens in today's from today's oral arguments, yes, we are going to eventually get a decision. And like I said, the claims by Sotomayor and others that the Supreme Court had already decided this, that is just not true. The most the Supreme Court has ever said on this was more than 100 years ago in a case in which they said that the children of permanent resident aliens are U.S. citizens, but they have never said that the children of illegal aliens are also considered citizens. So like I said, claims to the contrary, that's just not the case.
Hans, the initial intent of this amendment that established this citizenship, can you tell us the history behind why this was needed as an amendment to define this in the amendments? For people who have heard the arguments back and forth, I think that the original intent is an interesting discussion.
Yeah, well, right after the Civil War, Congress passed a Civil Rights Act that was intended to make slaves and the children of slaves citizens, because as you'll recall, in one of the most infamous bad decisions of the Supreme Court prior to the Civil War, the Supreme Court had said that slaves could never become citizens. Republicans who controlled Congress during Reconstruction were afraid that, we've done this with a federal law, but that federal law could be overturned. So they passed the 14th Amendment, and the key to it is it doesn't just say you have to be born in the U.S. to be a citizen or naturalized, but it also says you have to be under the complete jurisdiction of the U.S. And that means, according to people who sponsored the amendment at the time, you owe your complete political allegiance to the U.S. government. Children of illegal aliens don't fit that because, in fact, they are citizens. Look, if two Mexicans are in this country illegally, they're, of course, Mexican citizens. And when their child is born here, that child is also a Mexican citizen. So that child owes their political allegiance to the Mexican government, not the U.S. government. And that's the problem with the claims being made by all these people that we only have birthright. Being born in the U.S. is the only requirement to be a U.S. citizen. It's just not true.
Hans von Spakovsky speaking with us right now. So on these two issues, the more current of the issues being the nationwide injunctions that have been implemented, do you feel like the Trump administration has a good shot at winning this case and limiting those injunctions to the districts with which they're ruled?
Yeah, I think they will. Look, it was very unusual for the Supreme Court to take this case. They usually don't have oral arguments after April, and yet they schedule oral arguments on this issue very quickly after this emergency appeal. And I think they realize that whatever decision they make in this case is going to have far-reaching results because of the nationwide injunctions being issued in all of the other cases, on all of the other executive orders that the president has been issuing, which, you mentioned at the beginning of the segment. So, this case is important to the birthright citizenship case, but it's also important to all those other cases that have been occurring all over the country.
Hans, we love talking to you. Thanks for being with us. We know that the Supreme Court season is going to be heating up here very soon, and we will be leaning heavily on you and your expertise. Thanks for being with us today.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Take care. Bye-bye. Hans von Spakovsky is a senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation, former FEC commissioner, and author of Our Broken Elections, How the Left Changed the Way You Vote. All right, Wiggins America when we come back.
Wiggins America when we come back.
How is it today?
It's full.
Do you do Wiggins America when I'm out and you're me?
No. Ethan has been doing it, and we play the Ethan Open for Wiggins America.
Yeah, and how does Ethan do? Because I know how Ethan does when you're gone.
Excellent.
Yes.
I hate to hear that. So when you're gone, the dynamic is that it's kind of my job to throw Ethan off of his game because he's doing my segment.
So you are trying to make sure he looks bad.
I don't know that I want to make him look bad.
Yes, that's what he's trying to do.
Because overall I want the show to benefit from him not hitting a home run.
The door.
I've never seen
he came in
the
like
studio
Kramer.
door be thrown open that big. Wiggins America next, and
Yes.
at the end of Wiggins America, we'll let Ethan assess how well you did.
No, I don't love that.
I do.
I do.
We'll be right back.
I'm the only one of me. Let me keep you company. You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you.
And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
Stewart's American Mortgage, the bagel loan guy. I want you to call Stewie first and foremost because he's a guy you can trust to just start the conversation with. If you have in your mind that you're going to buy a house in the near future, you know what's going to happen. Maybe the timeline kind of depends on the market, so on and so forth. You got to get that conversation started with Stewie because you can get pre-approved and then you can wait and see what happens with the market. When you get pre-approved with Stewie, you are going to be able to go onto his website and generate your own pre-approval letters within that amount that you've been pre-approved for. So you don't have to wait on a third party to get that job done. You can handle it yourself. It gives you flexibility to make sure the number on the paper and everything is right, but it's on your time schedule. But here's the best thing with Stewart's American Mortgage. The bagel loan. When you're buying a new home or if you're looking to refinance your house and take some equity out of your home, when you refinance with the bagel loan, you pay $0 in closing costs. $0. That's an amazing way to start your new home or to refinance your current one and to get the money out that you might need to pay down high-interest credit card debt, to invest in something, whatever it might be. 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
When's the last time you gave your home's exterior a little love. Hi, it's Kim, and if your siding is cracking, it's fading, or just doesn't stand up to our St. Louis weather, it's time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design because they're experts in James Hardy siding, which is this durable, low-maintenance option, and it looks beautiful. Plus, you have customizable colors and textures, and so you can give your home a completely new look while protecting it for decades. Don't wait until the small problems turn into big ones. Visit lakesidearty.com to schedule your free consultation.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. We know the loss and the cost of an accident because when an insurance company offers a lowball settlement, we go to war for you and take the fight to the insurance company. Call 314-500-5000.
The YouTube live chat poll today asks you, are you like Debbie Dingle? Have you ever fallen asleep on the job? Yes or no? And others too, but really, let's focus on this Debbie Dingle. I think that's the most important part of the day. 12:42. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Thursday afternoon on The Mark Reardon Show, Mark is back, and he will be having in George Gray in studio for The Price is Wrong.
The Mark Reardon Show, weekdays from 3 to 6, right here on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
So if you join us on the Annie Fry YouTube channel, you can vote. And there's baby Tyrus. We've got some of the baby video. There's no sound, but I watched so many of these just like this because I just adore them. So we're going to get to Wiggins America here in just a second. The YouTube live chat poll for today is, have you ever fallen asleep on the job? Yes or no? I understand that maybe your job was working at a Wendy's and it was slow and you fell asleep in the French fries or something, maybe. That's a specific story from Ryan's past.
I'd never know. Oh, no.
You're like, it was the baked potatoes.
I would never fall asleep and put my face in grease.
We want to know if you've ever fallen asleep on the job because there are 3 congressmen. They were all in like a 24-hour period, right?
I don't think they had to dig deep for these. No, I think this was pretty cool.
No, I think it all happened at one time. The first one's name?
Debbie Dingle.
You just want to say it.
I don't know the other two. One was Moore.
One was Moore, and then the other was another woman from Illinois.
Oh, was she?
Yes. But why are these people falling asleep? And have you ever done that? Annie Fry YouTube channel in the live chat portion of the live broadcast. And in the meantime, throughout the course of the show, we're just going to show you cute baby versions of adult people.
It's wonderful. I'm not criticizing the baby videos, but isn't it a little bit surprising to you? Maybe it's not at all. That we went, oh my gosh, AI. We finally have AI.
And this is what we do with it?
And we just get baby videos of Kilmeade.
I'd rather have this than the overtaking robots.
I agree, but I thought that AI would be something that helped you live your life differently. And so far, it's just videos.
I'm not an expert on AI, but I think that there are other things that AI has done other than videos of the Gutfeld show looking like babies.
I mean,
could be wrong.
They make the Simpsons opening look like it's from the 1950s, and you're like, well, that's really cool. Okay, what is that? How did that change my life, though?
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Wiggins!
Oh, Wiggins!
All right, I got a whole bunch of stories here that make you go, what?
What?
The first
right
one,
on the mark.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you? Yeah. Okay, never mind.
A little bit of a delay there, but we'll start with this one. McDonald's says it plans to hire 375,000 people this summer. The hiring surge is focused on staffing up to 13,000 U.S. restaurants as the company prepares to open 900 new locations over the next couple of years. I don't know. It doesn't say. It just says they want to grow. The thing is, they've been down the last couple quarters, and they think that it's because they're not hiring enough people.
The McDonald's index is like, it's a thing that people follow to measure all of fast food. But
This
like
is news to me. I don't know
success, I was listening to this on Fox Business, and I think Chef Gruhl was talking about this on Fox News also. But the question as to whether people are eating less McDonald's, are they eating less? Maybe they can't produce as much, which is kind of what this is saying. There are questions about, are people starting to think more about what goes into their food?
Mm-hmm.
You know what beef tallow is right now because of big beef tallow. Is that having an effect? Are people starting to think healthier than they have been in the past? Maybe fat is out.
They're saying they're going to focus more on customer service, which is terrific.
Please. I just want to go places and not, when people are nice to me, be like, well, that was refreshing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just like expecting to drive through and have the French fries tossed into my car. Or, like I said, I have had, we had a little conversation about scooters and how pleasant scooters is to go through. And I've been to Scooters. Well, I've been a few times since then, since we had that conversation. Yep. Nope. Not at all. And they told me that people are coming through going, I heard the Annie Fry show talking about you guys. And I have people messaging me back saying, I went to Scooters and they were so friendly.
That doesn't surprise me because
I'm not being paid to say
Scooters.
this. And folks, I would love to be paid to tell you about Scooters. I would the goal would one day to be able to break even.
Oh, I'd do it for Chais.
My endorsement of Scooters is completely based on my patronage of a coffee shop that makes great coffee and gives it to you with a smile. And then that's the transaction. That's it. Mm-hmm. You order your coffee, you get your coffee, they're pleasant, you go about your day. There's no extra commitment or flair.
Do you get the same thing every time you go?
Yeah.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. I start to order and they go, hi, Annie.
Oh, yeah? I started switching it up.
The closest thing to switching up the order is if I get a breakfast sandwich or not. I recommend the bacon ciabatta sandwich.
What is your order?
Oh, gosh. You guys are going to judge me, which would be different than usual.
Well, Ryan judges you every day, so it's fine.
Extra large, iced, non-fat, sugar-free vanilla latte with a extra shot and protein cold foam, no added flavor. That's just one drink.
Wow. That's overwhelming.
And they know that. They keep suggesting things to me about how to like.
You want to make it dirty?
No.
That's what they always ask me when I order a chai.
Don't ever say that to me again.
You want to make that dirty? I was like, no, ma'am. I thought this was a healthy establishment.
Super hot in here right now. What is going on?
But that's actually kind of
Didn't
why
know
I
this
go,
was
too.
that kind of place.
It's not. Somebody tell him.
Apparently it is, according to
Don't forget,
Mr.
Ethan
Wiggins.
is grading you. Go on.
Oh, it's not going well.
One more fact about this story with McDonald's. McDonald's is one of the biggest U.S. employers, so when they are adding people, that is a good sign.
Yeah.
With the
really
company
surprised to hear that.
estimating that the company says this, that 1 in 8 Americans have worked for McDonald's. Isn't that amazing?
What?
1 in how many?
1 out of every 8 people in America.
Have any of us worked at McDonald's?
I don't think so.
We need to find 4 more people.
But
Is that Daniel out there?
Mm-hmm.
Go see if he's ever worked for McDonald's. Be right
That would be
back.
5.
Report back.
And
No! Go ask
He was
3 more
listening.
people. Go
He
ask
said,
3 more
no.
people.
Worked at McDonald's. Fred's a no.
Man, we're getting close, and we still haven't found somebody here.
I don't know if that's good or bad about radio.
Brad, being the one person in the room, I know you have worked fast food.
Yeah.
We never ask this question. What is something good about working in fast food?
It makes you know that you don't want to do that for the rest of your life.
No. I was looking for real good.
He
We
found
always
a positive at least.
Helps form future life choices.
Yeah. No, it teaches you responsibility, being on time,
I wish
that
we
sort
could
of
run
thing.
that McDonald's as a poll and see if we get 1 out of 8 of our audience.
Ooh, that's a good one for tomorrow, especially Friday poll.
Friday poll.
There's nothing refreshing about working in fast food?
Yeah, there is. It's
Nice cold drinks. It's refreshing.
They're refreshing. Refreshing is it teaches you things like responsibility. Being it's a
job. It's better than sitting on your duff.
Yeah,
Did
it's
you
a
get free
first
food?
job for the last time. No, but you get I didn't at my store, but I got a huge discount.
On Taco
That's
Bell?
a plus.
Yeah, Taco Bell.
In
yeah.
the 90s or the 2000s?
Yeah, it's late 90s.
Everything was less than $1 than any. Weren't it like
man.
69, 79, 89 cents at
Those
that time?
cheese roll-ups had
Yes.
to be like a dime.
Cheese roll-ups didn't exist then, I bet. Did they exist
Oh yeah, they did.
on the menu?
My favorite part about working at Taco Bell was inventing food because when you go to Taco Bell,
How
everything.
many more options can there possibly be?
Oh man. Well, they didn't have chimichangas at Taco Bell, but they had a deep fryer, and they had the 12-inch flour tortillas. So you just made it, rolled it up, and dropped it in the deep fryer, made your own chimichanga.
Taco Bell would probably be one of the most dangerous ones to work at, right? As far as just temptation.
Oh, man. The other thing
I worked
that I
at
loved-
Annie's Frozen Custard, so I worked
on purpose?
No, it was an accident. I just kept showing up at the wrong place.
They kept trying to pay her. She's like, stop.
My name is literally Annie. I have to work here.
No, I did. I loved that job. And go to Annie's in Glen Carbon.
I love
Well, I'll
Annie's.
ask you the
Best
same
fro-
question then.
best
What's
frozen
what's
custard.
a positive about working at
Learning
at a job like
customer
that?
service from that angle. I would there are times where people are super rude or super slow or super new and they're bad at their job. But if I'm frustrated, I know how I will never treat people.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only way that I would ever get attitude-y with somebody is if they throw an attitude at me first. And you mentioned a Buffalo Wild Wings situation. I can't remember. I can't remember. I apparently have blacked that out. But I remember we sat there forever. We didn't get all of our food. And then we were waiting for a check, and they wouldn't even bring our check or something.
Yeah, it was not good.
It's because you were so filled with rage that you forgot about it.
It was a long night. Like we got there at 11 o'clock or something.
That was after the
Tyrus
Tyrus
event. Yeah.
event.
Holy cow.
But we were all still like on a high. We're like, we can't just go home, right? We got to get some chicken.
Yeah, let's do the late night thing. Waffle House.
No, literally, it was the only place that was open.
I think you're right.
And I had my whole family there.
Yes, you did.
Like small children.
And me and Brad.
Yeah.
Small children's, exactly.
Small. Yeah. Great.
All right. The next one is a new Associated Press poll that says Democrats' optimism about the party's future has dropped sharply.
That's shocking.
I mean, we've never heard this before, but the numbers are kind of interesting. From this time last year, about 6 out of 10, so 60% of Democrats were very positive about the future of their party, which is kind of low going into an election. But now it's only 3 or 2, roughly, out of 10 say that they are positive about the future of the Democrat Party. The reason that I even pulled this article,
I was going to say, why does this make you go what?
Is that they interviewed a guy from Cahokia, Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
Who said, and this is a national story, who said, I'm not real high on the Democrats right now. To me, they're not doing enough to push back against Trump. So I turned the page, and it says the Trump resistance leaders are Pritzker and Ocasio-Cortez. The AP saying that those are the 2 biggest resistance leaders
Future's
in the
bright for the
Democrat
Republicans.
Party right now. I just wanted to report on that in case you couldn't believe it. And there it is, just a little delay from the computer. All right, most parents fear that they're losing precious time while fighting with their kids about their digital addiction. So not even about the actual screen time, but just fighting about screen time. So the question is, how much do you actually have to fight with your kids over screen time?
I don't fight with my kids.
This says parents spend approximately, can you believe this, 96 hours a year fighting with their kids over screen time.
I don't fight with my kids over it. We don't have like a policed amount of I don't allot screen time. And does screen time I don't even think it includes television. I think screen time is devices.
Okay.
For the most part. I think that's how most people would quantify it, but phones are supposed to be, when they're at home, you can go sit and check them where they're plugged in, but they don't get to walk around with them. I might, if we go out and one of the older 2 kids is watching the other kids, we'll let them have their phones with them or whatever since they're babysitting. But I don't fight with them. I definitely have a struggle right now with my 12-year-old, who's most of her friends are 14 or older, and they all have Snapchat. And we have not done Snapchat.
The peer pressure has got to be the hardest part.
You say don't?
Don't.
Why?
I don't trust other people.
Yeah.
Having grown up in the day and age where it was created, I've said this before, I grew up in the age where so much of this was being created that parents, it felt like, had no idea what kids were getting into as far as just
you didn't even
it
know
all
to worry
coming
about
so
things.
fast.
Mm-hmm.
And now seeing just the dangers out there and what kids do, I feel like I'm going to be so protective.
I think your whole
over
generation
social media
is
usage.
going to have such a better leg up on raising your kids because, we got the internet. The internet came into existence when I was in junior high. You couldn't use any sources for a research paper through college that came from the internet. Like, you had to go get it out of a book. You could find it on the internet, but you had to source it from a book in order to include it. So we didn't grow up using this. It was never an important part of socializing. I remember Mark Zuckerberg's like a month older or younger than me. And I remember in my sophomore year when my roommate said, Annie, are you on the Facebook yet? And I was like, no. And she's like, you need to get on the Facebook. And so I remember signing up for it and being like, okay, now what do I do? And it was just a bunch of people trashing people they knew personally.
Were you ever on MySpace?
You got to do this.
Yeah.
MySpace was cool for a couple of years.
I worry about that a lot, and I have gotten closer to caving in on my daughter with Snapchat than I care to admit. But Ethan says don't.
I would not.
All right. Let's take a quick break, Tyrus, when we come back.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Cardinals fans, there are more ways this season to watch your Cardinals on FanDuel Sports Network. For the first time, you can subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network and stream the Cardinals without blackouts. Monthly, seasonal, and annual packages available. Also new this season, you can stream FanDuel Sports Network through Amazon Prime Video with an add-on subscription. As always, you can watch FanDuel Sports Network through TV providers including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. Visit Cardinals.com/TV to learn more.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
STS Armory, online at sts-armory.com. If you have in your near future a purchase that you need to make, you're looking to buy a firearm, something specific. Maybe it's for your carry firearm. Maybe it's for hunting. Maybe you're looking for a rifle. Whatever you're pursuing, when you go to Pontoon Beach, STS Armory in Illinois, you walk in and you say, this is what I'm kind of looking for. Or maybe you go in and you have the exact model number of what you're trying to find. STS Armory is going to help you through the whole process, from getting your FOID card all the way to the very specific, maybe hard to find item. They are your guide when it comes to everything that has to do with firearms, safety, security, all of it. You can buy pepper spray from them. I have. If you want to protect yourself and you want to have people, your people in the business, then you need STS Armory. Brand new shop in Pontoon Beach, Illinois, and you can find out about everything they do, including classes that they teach, at sts-armory.com.
KFTK FM Florissant.
An Odyssey station.
A tug of war at the Supreme Court. Lisa Brady, Fox News. Between executive and judicial power, as justices hearing arguments over a Trump order on birthright citizenship first had to wade through the issue of district judges temporarily blocking an executive order nationwide. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal.
Justice Alina Kagan asked U.S. Solicitor General John Sauer, if an executive order is illegal, how quickly can the case get before the justices if a lower court judge, as he argues, can't issue a nationwide injunction?
The appropriate way to do it is for there to be multiple lower courts considering it, the appropriate percolation that goes to the lower courts, and then ultimately this court decides the merits in a nationwide binding precedent.
New Jersey Solicitor General Jeremy Feigenbaum argued that while nationwide injunctions aren't always appropriate, they can be in certain cases, and that it was here.
Its argument that a single district court cannot decide birthright citizenship, or that we need more percolation on that question for the nation, overlooks that this court already settled this exact constitutional question 127 years ago.
The president wants to end automatic citizenship for U.S.-born babies whose parents entered the country illegally. Opponents argue that would be unconstitutional. President Trump still not ruling out an extra stop on his Mideast trip, just telling reporters he's probably going back to Washington tomorrow while signing a guest book alongside the president of the United Arab Emirates.
It's an honor to be here, and the last 4 days have been really amazing. I think they've been amazing. But it shows you where our country can go.
The president also visiting Saudi Arabia and Qatar. The president had floated a stop in Turkey where Ukraine's president went, hoping for direct talks with Russia's President Putin, who instead sent a second-tier delegation.
I think it's abundantly clear that the only way we're going to have a breakthrough here is between President Trump and President Putin. It's going to require that level of engagement to have a breakthrough in this matter.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio plans to meet with Ukraine's delegation in Turkey. America is listening to Fox News.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
No question, an early summer feel. 93 for the high this afternoon, 94 the record from 1944. Partly to mostly sunny skies, a little windy, just a slight chance of a spot late day thunderstorm. All is quiet tonight. Partly cloudy, 63. Friday, partly sunny, 91. Couple of scattered late day thunderstorms on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Beautiful day to sit on your deck at your home. ArtisticDecks.net is the website. Artistic Decks is who you want to call if you want to enjoy the deck of your dreams, which is made affordable, of course, when you work with Artistic Decks. 314-280-0821. 314-280-0821. When you reach out to Artistic Decks, you are tapping into decades of experience of building customized decks for people just like you. If you want to be the envy of the neighborhood, if you want to be the person that has the home where people gather in the backyard, you want to call Artistic Decks. You can ask them about their over 500 square foot discount to save a little extra money. And if you book now, you're going to get your deck built before the summer wraps. A small down payment will get you on the schedule for this season. So reach out to Artistic Decks. 314-280-0821. Call 314-280-0821 for your free design and consultation online at artisticdecks.net.
Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test and consultation, all in just 1 hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get back in the game with Game Day Men's Health.
If it's time for new windows, there's only one place to call. That is Window World. Mark Cox here. Call my friends at Window World at 314-993-1800 for your free estimate today. If you have any questions, they'll be glad to send someone out to explain all of it to you. You can even schedule right online at windowworldstl.com. You know, there's a lot of high-interest financing out there, but here's what Window World's doing. Right now, they're offering 18 up to 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. You can't beat that. You also get a lifetime warranty that covers all of the parts, the glass breakage, and labor. Who else stands behind their product like that? Over half the appointments Window World will set this year are from previous customers or referrals from those customers. That is a testimony to their customer service, their quality, and their commitment to creating loyal customers. That's what you get with Window World. Call them at 314-993-1800, windowworldstl.com.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-MILLION. That's 314-9-all-zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
They knew he wasn't capable of running again, which also, by the way, means he wasn't capable of holding the office at the time. And now they're trying to get everybody to move on. There are legitimate questions about what these Democrats knew, when they knew it, and did they put the country through the biggest cover-up and scandal in modern American political history. It's pretty obvious from this book that's coming out and other accounts that maybe they did.
I'm kind of surprised to hear you're mad about it.
I'm not. Yeah, I am mad because I vote in this country. And here's what I'd like to know. Was the elected president of the United States so impaired that he wasn't making the decisions on behalf of the government? That's
You're becoming like my most stable relationship.
Enough said.
Well, one of the busiest guys in the business, Tyrus, joins us once again, a regular on Gutfeld, Fox News contributor, and touring the country with his show that you got to check out. Go to @PlanetTyrus to find out more about where he's going to be. Tyrus, I want to talk to you about Baby Tyrus before we let you go, because Baby Tyrus is about the cutest thing I've ever seen on the internet. But I'd like to hear from you and your thoughts on this Tapper book that's coming out right now. And this revelation that, you know what, I don't know if Joe Biden was doing so well while he was the president.
Yeah, that Tapper book, there's a special place in Ford. It's called a dumpster. What a laughable joke. He at one point he was insulting, I think it was Laura Trump. How dare you act like you're a doctor? The premise that they lied to us, and that's the media's excuse, or propaganda's excuse, is laughable. The White House tries to spin things in their favor, and it is the job of the journalists to hold them accountable and ask questions and follow-up questions. And they did none of that because they were a willing participant. They were using the influence that was given to them and the ability to get interviews and spotlights and White House, all the tricks and goes with playing ball with the shadow government. So for them, all they're doing, all this is a blueprint of them only. It's like a confession of the crimes that they were willing participants. For Jake Tapper to try to act like he was Walter Cronkite over this is an absolute joke. Like, shame on him.
Yeah.
He's trying to prophetize from basically catfishing the American people.
Yeah, it's so accurate, and it's the part of it that's super offensive is that he's written a book that he's going to make a load of money off of.
Well, and let's be honest, did he write it or does Ghostwriter write it and he put his name on it? Like, I mean, I think we need to start calling it what it is. Like, he's writing this book, I guess because he's just putting his name on it. I guess that takes away some of the culpability, but not as far as I'm concerned. Like, and this is not fun for me because I always had a lot of respect for Jake Tapper as a journalist. And there was a time when he would hold both parties accountable, and he was one of the best at his job. And I don't know what it was. Was it job security? Was it raises? Or what it was? to make somebody a willing participant to basically, they don't take an oath to be a reporter, but you basically sold yourself out to the American people, and now you're trying to write a half tell-all where you're excluding yourself. I mean, this is just like, it's like you got 5 criminals in court, and each criminal's testifying against the other criminal, but they leave their part out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Tyrus is speaking with us right now. Check out his latest book, Nuff Said. It is a must-read. Check it out if you have ever written to me, and so many people do, about how much they love Tyrus on this show. You need to read his book and find out more about the story behind Tyrus. We've talked a lot today so far about these Congress people who are falling asleep while they're supposed to be working. I was curious, our YouTube poll for today is asking people if they've ever fallen asleep on the job. Tyrus, have you ever fallen asleep on the job? And what do you think of the folks who are doing it while they're in Congress?
Well, I guess at least they showed up because they're clearly not doing work. Well, they're probably jet lagged from flying off to check on the Venezuelan, super dad, and protesting to protect illegals who attack people. I guess that makes you tired. When I was in the WWE, we used to travel a lot, and we would have things where we would wrestle from town to town and have to drive at night. And there would be days in front of the monitor where you would be fighting it, but there was nothing worse for you if you fell asleep. Guys' careers changed forever falling asleep in front of the monitor. So if you could catch a nap, you better be slick about it.
Yeah.
But
you wear those sunglasses.
we've had Gutfeld. I've never been that bored on the Gutfeld show where I'm not off, but I guess it could happen. But for the most part, when I show up to work, I try to make sure I got my 8 hours in. But to fall asleep when you're representing the people, I think, is beyond the pale. Because it's not just you. This isn't like you're sitting at a checkout stand at Walmart and you fell asleep, and so they're going to dock you an hour's pay. You're supposed to be paying attention for the American people and be able to come back to your constituents with good answers and solutions. And when they show up and they just sleep because they're up all night, doing 24-hour speeches or whatever, it's laughable. And it's the American people. We just got to vote better. I mean, that should be whoever's running against the people who like to take naps. They should be running that poster like, this is who you voted for.
Yeah, Debbie Dingell. There's two Democrats and one Republican who have, in the last day, I don't know what it was, but the last 24 hours causing this to happen. Do you think that there should be ramifications outside of their constituents potentially voting them out? Should something happen to them for doing that?
Yeah, they should get fined. They should be fined, and their money goes to worthwhile causes. They should be fined, just like the NBA fines players for bad language or questioning a ref. If you're a senator or congressman and you fall asleep in the court, you should be fined. You should be fined, and then eventually, if it continues, having to be censured, I think.
So
this is a serious job. It's not. I know the only sound bites we see are the idiots on the Senate on TV, but they're supposed to be doing a job.
I'm putting up for the people watching on our YouTube stream one of the many videos that I've seen here lately. And it's the baby versions, the AI versions of things that people are doing and saying. President Trump, Zelensky, we've seen all sorts of people, but they did Gutfeld show as well. And I think the baby Tyrus and his beard and backwards hat is adorable. And I just wanted to know for you, how do you feel about baby Tyrus?
His tat game is strong. The tattoos were well done. They could maybe get the blue eyes in there and they'd be perfect. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. My favorite one was the Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal argument when Charles talked over him and he's like, it's not supposed to go 1-2-1. It's supposed to go 1-2-3. With Ernie laughing, I think is probably my favorite. But I think the one they did with the Gutfeld show, the one I saw when I had the Power Gym stuff on, was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was just, the Greg one was pretty good too, I thought.
Do you, Emily Campagno's in this one. Adorable. Absolutely adorable. Do you think that, does this just entertain you? Does this weird you out at all to be parodied or whatever in this way when you see this? Is it just all fun and games for you?
I laugh. You know, my dream is to be made fun of on South Park.
That's the goal.
You know, I could be Cartman's deadbeat dad. Finally showed up. Cartman finds out he's black. I think that's an awesome episode. But that's one of the things where it's when people get offended, I just laugh. It's like you want to be in front of the camera. People are going to criticize you. They're going to talk about you, and if you can't make fun of yourself, and then sometimes when they do something that's cool and funny, you appreciate it and glad that a group of people said, hey, let's do one of Tyrus. I think that's kind of cool. So, you know, it's and I enjoyed it. I laughed, and I retweeted it, and I was like this. So I think, you know, even when they do satires or they make fun of you, or in this case, they just put you in an AI baby body, you gotta enjoy the moment, not take it so seriously. It's not like they gave me a brand new plane.
Yeah, exactly. Tyrus, thank you for being with us. Hey,
always a pleasure.
How are the Red Sox doing? I don't ask that with knowledge.
You know what? You could have asked me that after the Kansas City Royals series, and I would have said we're doing great.
Yeah.
But we ran into a wall that was called Detroit, and we got Watford out in the middle of nowhere. So, you know, there was a football score in the second inning in the second game, and again, our pitchers do well, and then our bullpen just gets murdered. So. It's about par. We're about on par. You know, it's about right.
Are you hopeful? Is it possible you make the playoffs this year?
If the Orioles don't turn it around, we've probably got a shot. I just think that there's not going to be 3 wild card spots for the East. Yeah. You know, I think Kansas City, Detroit isn't going anywhere. Cleveland's not going anywhere. Minnesota. So there's not like there's just one dominant division where, you know, for a while the AL East was where it was at and you had like 3 teams. I think it's going to be a lot tighter this year. It's either going to be if the Orioles get it together, the Rays are always going to hang around. Toronto's not terrible. So I doubt it. I would be surprised. If we made it, I'd be great. I just think that there's so much distance between teams like the Dodgers and the Braves and the Yankees, and I hate saying that, but I think there's a huge difference. There's this little pool of guys that are all fighting, pulling. I think they can throw the Cardinals in there, Milwaukee in there. The Cubs are actually playing good baseball too. Yeah. But it's kind of nice. So you really can't call it. You're either really good or everyone's kind of right around the same thing. So it's a fun time for baseball. Every game seems to be meaningful this year, which is good for the sport.
Amen. Amen to that.
Amen.
Tyrus, let's talk to you soon. Thanks for being with us today.
All right, have a great weekend.
You as well. Bye-bye. Man, Tyrus baby is cute.
He kind of dug into South Park canon there a little bit. I did not know that they've never revealed Cartman's dad before.
Yeah?
That's a great idea.
Did you watch South Park when it was new?
When it was brand new, I was a little behind the game, but I caught up pretty quick.
Was it HBO?
No, it's Comedy Central.
Comedy Central? Well, there is no way that I was allowed to watch South Park.
That's why I wasn't either.
I still don't know if I'm allowed to watch South Park. I'll have to ask my dad.
I was probably close to being out of the house by then.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I watched it right when it started.
Isn't it interesting to look at South Park and what South Park is and what it does? And to look at it when it was first coming out, how disrespectful it was to anything and everything. And where that kind of fit into our childhood with the options that were there for us. Like, I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons for a long time. And I was always, it was always kind of, to me, it was always just kind of about a less than traditional, pretty dysfunctional family. But they were still an intact family.
Yeah, that's what's funny about The Simpsons is that when they first came out, it was the same organizations like American Family Association or something like that.
The whole thing was to turn on its head the idea of the American dad.
Right. And,
yes.
And they voted that show worst value show on American television. Within about 6 or 7 years, they voted it best show on television for American values because television had degraded that far.
That's the point that I'm making with South Park. Like, if you look at what South Park was, just like in the cultural ether, to plug South Park in there, all it was irreverent and disrespectful. I mean, they'd throw the F-bomb in there, right? Was the F-bomb in there?
I don't know if they could on Comedy Central originally. They probably haven't
since then.
in things since then, movies and stuff.
But it was disrespectful to everything that was culturally traditional. And so, for me, I wouldn't want my kids to watch it and find that humor incredibly funny. But then now I see stuff from South Park and I'm like, that is really a wild way of making a point that I agree with.
It's one of the few American television institutions that's actually lampooning culture.
And it's kind of untouchable in a sense. Like, if you go at it, you're the next one up to be South Park, which is interesting. An interesting place to be. It's a brave place to be, and I don't know that if you would have talked to 1990s, 2000s Annie, if I'd be like, South Park is brave. I'd be like, that's who I want to grow into being. Just being able to know that everything is fair game. Family Guy kind of does that too, to an extent, but it was also a show I couldn't watch.
Family Guy does it, but it's with the intention of being about as gross as you can sometimes. Not all the time.
Shocking.
But sometimes.
Yeah.
Whereas that's not really what South Park does.
And Family Guy won't do it until South Park has done it.
Well, South Park is more culturally based.
Yeah.
Family Guy is like a shock jock for entertainment and funny. I love the mom scene. Mom, Lois. Mom, hi. It's my life. Ed Martin's coming onto the show next. Associate Deputy Attorney General, Trump weaponization czar. We are going to talk to him about the pardons that Joe Biden issued. Remember how they were signed with AutoPen? Anybody got a problem with that? Well, Ed Martin's digging into it, and he's going to join us on the Annie Fry Show next to talk about it. We'll be right back.
My sweetheart, I belong with you. You belong with me, my sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
CiviaLaw.com. Are you looking for someone to guide you through the difficult transitions in life? The ones that you're not quite there at yet, or maybe you are and you know that you're behind the eight ball, you know you're late on this, but better late than never. Todd Civia and Civia Law are going to be your guide. 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL. The first 10 callers right now are going to be able to book a free strategy session. This is a no-brainer. I don't really ever have clients of mine who offer an immediate return on a phone call right away. But if you've thought about a trust, if you've thought about, oh my gosh, we don't have our living will put together, I don't have powers of attorney for your finances, for your health, you have to make this phone call and seize upon this opportunity to have that strategy session on Civia Law, not on you. It's a $300 value. So call this number, 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL. Reach out to Civia Law in Missouri and Illinois, and they're ready to help you. CiviaLaw.com.
Here's the hard truth. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half its buying power. That means a $100,000 savings account today could feel like $50,000 by 2031. And you see it every time you fill up your tank, buy groceries, or pay the bills. Prices are up. Your dollar is down. But there's a simple way to protect the value of your savings with something real, something proven. Gold. An asset that holds its value over time. That's why I trust Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to protect your savings with physical gold or silver. No high-pressure sales, no call centers. Just honest guidance, one-on-one support, and transparent pricing. And right now, when you open a qualified account, Noble Gold will send you a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar as a thank you. Head to noblegoldinvestments.com today to learn more. That's noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Have you been notified that your subsidy for Obamacare health insurance is going away? Well, you can leave now while you are still healthy and can qualify for much better individual plans. Greg Hammonds at greghammonds.com has been helping people get affordable health insurance with great coverage for over 35 years. Greg offers private health insurance plans that are not on the ACA marketplace. You can pick your doctors, For most claims, you won't even pay a deductible, and they're 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. One more thing, there's no tax penalty at the end of the year. Greg even has plans that are guaranteed acceptance. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan by you, not the government.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal, or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save now with 2024 pricing and Carrier Cool Cash rebates up to $1,700 on a new HVAC system. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Those executive orders, those pardons from the former president now null and void?
Well, I think so. It's not my decision. That'll be up to a court. But I would say that they're null and void because I'm sure Biden didn't have any idea that it was taking place. And somebody was using an auto pen to sign off and to give pardons to, as an example, it's just one example, but the J6 Unselect Committee. They gave, think of it, they gave pardons with an auto pen. I don't think Biden knew anything about it. And what they did is they deleted and destroyed all of the information that took them over a year to get.
President Trump speaking from Air Force One. I hope that the Qatari plane is quieter. When we get that, I hope it just calms down that extra air noise.
What if it's louder?
I don't know. Maybe that's part of the plan. President Trump speaking from Air Force One and saying, we got questions about these pardons that President Biden signed with an auto pen. Did he even know what he was doing when he was signing them or when they were being signed? Did he authorize them? There are so many questions that many of us have, and unfortunately, we have somebody who's going to get to the bottom of it. Ed Martin joins us now. It's a pleasure to have you on the show with us, Ed. Trump weaponization czar, Associate Deputy Attorney General. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's good to have you here on In St. Louis.
Annie, I'm always pleased to be on. I love St. Louis. You're great. Your listeners are great. 97.1 is great. So I'm sorry I'm not on more frequently. I'll make it up to you, but I think you guys are great. So good to talk with you.
Well, we will remedy that in the future because it sounds like you have quite a lot on your plate. I want to give the floor to you when it comes to AutoPen. We heard the president there saying he's got a lot of questions about how the AutoPen was used. So do we. What is your take right now on your research, what you're looking into with President Biden's usage of the AutoPen for things as big as pardoning family members?
Well, listen, I'm actually the pardon attorney now. I was sworn in a few hours ago as break some news as the United States pardon attorney. So we have an office and the Department of Justice to look at pardons. We get thousands of people that will send us requests about pardons. People that are looking to try to get a break, or maybe government didn't treat them well, and it's a really awesome responsibility. I'm really honored to do it. And one of the questions that has come up, and I think it's a very fair one, it's come up when I was a prosecutor in D.C., was when you see things that are unprecedented, that's when you take a pause, right? So I give a quick example. Lee Zeldin, our EPA administrator, saw that there was $6.7 billion transferred from the EPA to a nonprofit that was created out of whole cloth a year before. I remember back in Missouri, the Carnahan family got $109 million in tax credits for windmills. And at the time we were like, wait a second, that can't be right. What? They're not into windmills. That doesn't make sense. When things are so big and out of proportion, like $6.7 billion to a nonprofit, you stop and say, is that criminal? Now with the Carnahans, I think it was ethically wrong. I think it was morally wrong. I think it probably was corrupt. It probably wasn't criminal. At least nobody found that at the time. But with this, with the pardons, what you say is, we've never had a president use his pardon power in such a strange way. Back 14 years, plenary on everything, done in a way that doesn't make a lot of sense. And we know the Democrats are admitting that he was not mentally stable or really sufficiently strong in the job. So you have to ask a question. What was going on? Now, I happen to think that the power of a pardon is plenary, meaning if the president knows what he's doing and he does it himself, you can question it as being corrupt. But if you don't like it, you have to change the Constitution. But we don't have those details in place because of what has happened with Joe Biden. So it has to be fair game. And what the media and others want to do is they want to say, well, we don't think Joe Biden was competent to do his job, but you're not allowed to ask about the pardons. And what President Trump has taught us as his team is we're not afraid to ask the questions, get to the bottom of it, and let's see where the facts lead us as to the law, and what then we'll know an answer.
It sounds to me, we're speaking with Ed Martin right now, that your goal is not necessarily ultimately to overturn Joe Biden's pardons, but to really get to the bottom of what all went into that pardon and to expose some sort of, right now, secret potential that could exist as to how aware Biden was at the time.
Right. Well, look, what we have right now is we have a government that for the last 4+ years was really aimed at destroying Americans and destroying the rule of law. They said things like, so-and-so, Donald Trump's a threat to democracy. It was they that were gathered, and they were using the law against the citizens. We saw it on January 6th. We saw it on targeting Catholics. We saw it on targeting school board attending families, right? One after another incidents where the government is weaponized against we the people. When it comes to something like the pardons, the president of the United States can do what he wants on that. But when there is something that doesn't make sense, we have an obligation to name it. And if it's bad, we should shame it. And if it's illegal, we should prosecute it. But we shouldn't shy away from any of those two things. And I think that's what the president's taught us. That's what he asked me to do in this new role that I have. And we're going to do it. We're not going to be afraid of it. And let the chips fall where they may. If these people are actually protected, fine. But if it turns out there's something wrong, by the way, one thing about this. People that got pardoned for something that is so obvious, COVID, select committee fraud, that the J6 unselect committee, if they have immunity, if they're pardoned, then they have to testify. Yeah. So we can get to the truth of what went on, even if we can't prosecute them. And I think we have to be willing to do that also.
Ed Martin speaking with us right now, and I know you have limited time, and we're grateful for the minutes that we do have you. I just want to read a clip or a piece of this article here from ABC News. Catherine Faulders writes about you, Mr. Martin. Martin's appointment to several powerful positions at the Justice Department following his rejected confirmation by the U.S. Senate appears to have emboldened him to more aggressively pursue political targets of President Donald Trump. Ed Martin, what do you say to that?
Well, they've said worse about me in the last couple of weeks, so that seems sort of benign. One of the powers of transparency is that you can judge for yourself on politicization. I have spent 2 weeks in a fight for my confirmation life with a Republican who beat the heck out of me, right? So I think I have bipartisan, kind of opponents in what I think is pursuing the truth. But I'll stick with, doing what President Trump has directed us and what Attorney General Bondi has given us, and trust my own kind of seriousness of purpose. And I don't really worry much about if Annie Fry said I was being a bad guy, I'd worry a little bit more. But I'm not really worried about some of these critics.
What were they so afraid of, Ed Martin, in your confirmation? Real quick.
Look, I'll tell you what they're afraid of. Same thing with Trump. They're afraid of people that aren't going to roll over for what they want, right? If you want a career in the law or you want a career in politics, don't do what I did, because you're going to find yourself opposed by your own party, and you're going to be hemmed in on. No big law firm is going to want to hire you. But if you want to do what's right for the country, Donald Trump showed us the way. And I'll finish with this, Annie. I think it's this. I think this is the truth right now. It's now or never. It's now or never for this moment we have where if you're going to be, this isn't a debate about who could be this or who could be that. This isn't a conversation about what the future. It's now or never for our country to keep going and being great and being awesome. And all of us that can have to get in there and understand the moment and go for it as best we can.
Would you come back on with us soon, Ed Martin?
bet.
We'd love to have you.
I will, of course. I will. Thank you.
Thank you for your time today, sir. We
Okay.
really appreciate it.
Have a great day. God bless you.
You as well. Bye-bye. It's great to talk to Ed about, you were saying you were kind of excited about this because he was the news of the last week.
Yeah.
He puts himself in the Trump category of being somebody who is going to be, if you're a bulldog, the way Donald Trump is, then you're going to face great opposition. And we had limited time with him there, so we can dig in on that next time we speak with him. But I worry to an extent about these things about the Biden administration. Did you guys talk a lot about the Tapper book yesterday?
Yeah,
your
we did.
Your poll question was about that, Brad said. It's obnoxious to look at these revelations that people are having. Like, gosh, it seems like, wow, they were going to put him in a wheelchair because they couldn't get him around from point A to point B, but we got to wait until after the election. I mean, that's just deception. Of course, that's deception. And I mean, you guys were here with me. I wish we could pull the tape, but I don't even know how we would begin to go about doing it. How many times did I say, we know the condition of the president, and somebody someday will write a book and make a ton of money on the tell-all from what was really going on in the White House. The only place that I didn't have it fully spot on is that it would be the media writing the book and not the insiders who were in the White House. The fact that you have Jake Tapper out there trying to expose these things, dude, where you been? It's not just that there's a revelation now, and now Jake Tapper's making money on this, like telling what was really going on. You gatekept all of the information the entire time Biden was in office because you were more afraid of Donald Trump becoming the president of the United States than you were giving the entire country to a known vegetable. When everybody else could tell that this guy was not mentis. I can't remember. Mentis starts with a C. There's a
Latin term?
It's a Latin term.
Oh, I don't know this.
I'm going to Google it on the
This
break.
is outside my purview.
And then in the third segment today, I'm going to sound super smart, unlike now where I'm like mentis
starts with a C.
Somebody on here will comment it, I bet. It's a legal term. It's basically saying that you're not competent. I think it's like the Latin word for competent. But I mean, it might have even been what was in the Her report. They're basically essentially, they said in the Her report that Joe Biden was a well-meaning something
elderly man with a poor
memory. Yeah, exactly. It was in the Her report, and everybody on the left attacked the Her report for politicizing their finding when the Her report actually said it the nicest way they possibly could have. They could have been more descriptive. The Her report could have been more honest about their findings, but they knew who Joe Biden was at the time, why, if you put him on the stand, it would be potentially detrimental to the national security of the United States at that point in time. That big of a deal. And now Jake Tapper and something Thompson are writing this book on it, and non commas mentis. Thank you, DeSoto Mike, on YouTube. I knew DeSoto would come through. That's where I go for all of my Latin.
DeSoto Mike.
Mentis. Yeah, there are people. Yeah, see, people knew what I was trying to say. I get credit for half knowing.
There's not really a consensus as to what it was. There's a few different options there, though.
Yeah, I know a couple people on here who are lawyers, and so if they comment, I will definitely cite that. When you have Ed Martin going and digging in on this, to finish the point that I started here, there are things that aren't going to be overturned when we find the whole truth. We're not going to see Ed Martin dig into this and go, oh my gosh, Hunter Biden's going to jail because that pardon is null and void. That's not what's likely going to happen. However, the Democrats, especially the people who participated in and propped up a deceitful Biden administration, they need to, for the safety and security of the future of the United States, they need to be fully exposed and they need to bear the full weight of the consequences of the American voting public. Every single detail of what they were willing to do to, I don't know, what would you say, threaten democracy. It's a republic. to threaten democracy, the thing that the Democrats tell us over and over and over again. The only way to protect democracy is to only vote for one single party. I don't think it means what you think it means. I'm going to go watch the Princess Bride baby sketch again. It just makes my heart happy. We have to understand what took place. And while we've talked before about, is the Trump administration doing too much, too fast? Can they keep it all up in the air? When you've got Ed Martin working, not in the background, but working on what was really behind the auto pen usage of the Biden administration, particularly in the sense of pardons, because what did he call himself? The pardon attorney?
Mm-hmm.
What was going on? To what extent was auto pen used with the president's knowledge? Was anything ever signed with auto pen without the president's knowledge? I want to know. And the American people deserve to know. And then if the American people are like, we don't care. We didn't want Donald Trump. Like, if you're like Joy Reid, who said to the camera, I would vote for a corpse before I would vote for Donald Trump. Ed Martin isn't going to find out that Joe Biden was comatose for the 3 weeks when the Hunter Biden and family at all pardons were signed. Joy Reid's not going to go, oh, that changes my mind for everything. MAGA. That's not going to happen. However, there are a lot of common sense people who are going to say, it was obvious. It was obvious that Joe Biden wasn't as mentally sharp as maybe he had ever been in his lifetime before, but I didn't know it was this bad. Why were you so willing to lie to me? And if you were in the Democrat Party, why in the world would you be okay with a Democrat Party who allowed that to go on when you could have had a primary? You could have had Kamala Harris fight for the nomination. You knew she was a bad candidate, but again, if it's better than Trump, you guys just don't care. If the Democrat Party, if the people in the administration would have cared at all about any semblance of honesty, then Joe Biden never, as he first promised the American people when he ran the first time, he never would have run for re-election. And if he never would have run for re-election, it is much more likely that Donald Trump would have had at least a closer election, if not maybe not be the president right now. If the Democrat Party would have had to vet the people who were going to represent them, but they didn't. The biggest threat to democracy that I've seen in my lifetime is what the Democrat Party is doing right now by deceiving the American people, putting somebody in office that they knew was not competent, and then taking away the nomination from him and forcing him to hand it over to somebody. And I'd still like to know if Kamala Harris, if that was the actual plan, or if Joe Biden threw that for a loop by endorsing her and knowing all of that money was going to go to Kamala Harris. The Democrat Party, they're masters at excluding the thoughts and opinions of the American people. They make decisions for you, not with you. And that's the whole point of the Democrat Party. You're too stupid. You're too poor. You're too out of touch to know what's good for you. But they know everything that's best for you. They know everything that needs to be done to make everything fair and equitable for them people. Because those people, they're the bureaucracy. They're the swamp. What they do in government, they cover their tracks, they dig their roots deep so that whoever comes in over and over and over again, the swamp grows. The bureaucracy is safe and protected, and Donald Trump is the wrecking ball to all of it. And I think Ed Martin's probably going to be a big part of that as well. We'll have him back. He's a St. Louis guy, so it's good to have him on the show. A quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the YouTube live chat poll. Have you ever fallen asleep on the job? We've seen some people lately who have. I would like to take a nap right now. Is it still warm in here?
It's getting better, but it's still warm.
Yeah.
Is it? Getting all worked up.
That's why.
Yeah. Do you have a story about this? Is falling asleep on the job?
I have a story, but it's I have a story.
Brad?
Job? No. School?
We'll be right back.
Baby, let me tell the truth. Yeah. You know what I'm thinking. See it in your eyes.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Especially in the night, I'm scared that I'll miss you. Happens every time. I don't want this feeling. I can't afford love.
Michael's Flooring Outlet online at igotfloored.com. Oh gosh, flooring just rejuvenates a home, doesn't it? Or if you've maybe finished your basement for the first time and you're getting ready to put that brand new flooring in, that's going to really make the basement stop looking like a basement and start looking like new living space in your home. You want that fresh new look from a place that understands affordability and value, but without the sacrifice of quality. Make sure that you reach out to Michael's Flooring Outlet online at igotfloored.com to quickly understand why they have been in business for decades and decades and decades here in St. Louis as a family-owned and operated business, serving people exactly like you, getting to know what you're looking for, giving you options that you can choose from, all that still value. That's the important part of knowing Michael's Flooring Outlet. If you're putting in beautiful carpeting, you might check out the Mohawk Silk line of carpet. It's a superior performance, silky softness, incredibly strong and durable. Check it out online at igotfloored.com.
Springboard to Learning provides enriching learning experiences for students in grades pre-K through 12, offering a diverse range of arts-integrated programming designed to foster passionate and engaged learners. Their signature program, The Art of Baseball, teaches students to analyze and interpret data as they discover the connections between art, baseball, statistics, and the world of business. Check out their work on display at the Together Credit Union Plaza at Ballpark Village on May 20th, or visit their website at springboardstl.org. This nonprofit highlight is brought to you by Together Credit Union.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been asked many times how Morgan & Morgan became the largest injury firm in the world. I think I know. When someone comes to us for an on-the-job injury, we have a huge workers' compensation practice. But many times we find a defective product that was responsible for that injury. Luckily for them, we have a product liability section headed by my son, Mike. In addition to the comp case, there is a product case too. Other times, the injured worker is fired or harassed for bringing that claim. We have them covered. Our employment lawyers handle retaliation claims as well as wage theft and discrimination cases, and in some cases need to file for Social Security benefits. No problem. We became big for a reason. 30% of our new cases come as referrals from former clients. Hiring us is easy. Go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer, or call Pound Law on your cell, pound 529. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Have you ever fallen asleep on the job? We're going to talk about that after 2 o'clock today. It's the YouTube live chat poll, and if you're watching us live right now, you're going to get a shot of my nose hairs.
Extreme close-up.
Extreme close-up. I'm not doing that. Annie's doing that. She's having a good time. Everybody's having a good time except Brian.
I'm like,
oh, and there goes the camera entirely. 148. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The news is fast. Listening to your favorite show at 1.5 speed is even faster. Download the podcast of your favorite 97.1 show. Upload it to the Odyssey app every day. All for your listening convenience. This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show, that YouTube live chat poll. Have you ever fallen asleep on the job? Yes or no? Go vote. Seems like in Congress that there are at least 3 out of 435 people who are doing that.
Well, looking at the poll right now, it looks like Debbie Dingle has voted.
We've got our friend Thomas Helbig in studio with us right now. Thomas, welcome back. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Annie.
So every day I am standing here and I look to my side and then I see the stock market is lately in the last week green. But for a while there, it was looking a little frightful.
Yes.
A lot of it had to do with the announcement of tariffs and everything.
Yes,
People,
with the tariffs, a lot of volatility.
Everybody that I hear talking about what he's doing right now, the people who the news focuses in on are those people who are about to retire because they can't afford a big dip because
No.
they're not going to have the time to recover.
Exactly.
You are with the Retirement Advisory Group, and we are having an event coming up. I love these. I get to meet listeners. We show up. I'm going to be there at 6 o'clock, but Tuesday, May 20th, that's coming up this coming Tuesday, at 6:30 p.m. at the Frontenac Hilton, a Protecting Your Retirement educational event. What do you tell people about that market volatility?
Okay, well, first, with the tariffs, expect some more volatility. We will have that, folks. But in the long run, with Trump in and what he's trying to do, the market's going to go higher than it was with Biden. And here's what we're going to talk about. You hear me on the radio all the time talking about how much safer and smarter it is to link to the market versus owning the market, especially if you're retired or nearing retirement. There's a strategy we have been teaching out there for the last number of years that every year they measure what the S&P 500 is. So what you're doing is linking to the S&P 500 index. If over 1 year that S&P 500 index is either flat or shows any positive growth for the year, this account is going to credit you 8.25%. Folks, think about that. Where can you find an 8.25% on safe money, no risk, no fees? The key is this: automatically it will lock in your gain every year with the strategy. And there's never a loss to the downside. So if the market goes down, you'll never lose a penny of your money. The S&P 500 has been positive 81% of the time over the last 22 years, folks. So imagine having an account, your retirement account, that when the S&P 500 is either flat or positive, you're going to get an 8.25% return, guaranteed for the whole year. No downside risk, no fees. But if the market does turn down, the worst you can earn is zero, meaning you won't earn anything because there was no growth in the S&P 500. So if you have an old 401k out there, you can roll that over. And you don't have to be 59 and a half for that. You could be any age to roll over an old 401k. But if you're 59 and a half years old, you don't want to miss this event. Because if you're working for a company and they currently have a 401k, you can roll over that current 401k tax-free into an IRA in your name and participate in this strategy. So, folks, you don't want to miss this event. Go to the phones, call 314-993-9494. Or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Ryan, you're almost retirement age.
Okay, I guess if you're pushing me out the door. I mean, I'm not planning on it, but I didn't know what the conversation had been.
It would be, I remember in 2008, 2009, when the stock market crashed, I remember watching it go down, and I don't know that I had much of anything invested at that point, so it wasn't really affected. I mean, I guess I had a little bit on a 401k, but I mean, it was if you hadn't made a decision to do something like this and you were thinking, I'm going to retire.
Oh my God.
That's
it took
devastating,
years to
right?
recover. Oh, devastating. In 2008, the market lost 55%, the S&P 500. It takes a good 10 years or longer to recover just to break even. That's if you're not feeding money into the account.
And if you're spending 10 years recovering, then you're spending 10 years not gaining.
Thank you. You're not gaining. You're just making up for the loss. And it's even worse when you retire because you're no longer feeding money into that retirement account. You're drawing money out to live off of. So if you go through a major market correction, you never recover. And that's how people run out of money. 70% of the population run out of money if they have their money on Wall Street in retirement. That's sad. That really is sad.
I've seen business deals, and I've gotten more into this world in the last 5-10 years, that people who buy real estate, multi-family apartment complexes and stuff, they look at a cap rate of like 8% and go, oh, that's great. But that's a lot of work. What you're talking about is 8% on just your money that you have.
Just your retirement money. Every year, if you can get that, and that's just one of these strategies. You can earn more. You can earn 10.5%. The problem with that strategy is if the S&P only does 3 for their year, you're gonna get 3. If the S&P does 1, you're only getting 1. Where this strategy, as long as the index shows a positive gain for the year or is flat, you're gonna 8.25% no matter what. Folks, you can't find those kind of returns in a bank or anywhere else. So don't miss this event. You need to show up, learn the strategies we've been teaching our clients for over 30 years. And that's why in 39 years, none of our clients have ever lost a penny.
So you say 59 and a half or older. 59 and a half is when you can actually take action, correct?
Correct. You could do it on, you don't have to be any age, you could roll over your IRA, but you have to be 59 and a half to roll over your current 401k if you're still working.
So if people are 56, 57, can they still benefit from coming?
Absolutely, because we could teach them the strategy, and a lot of them still have maybe money in an IRA or a Roth. They can roll over that. But then when they do become 59 and a half, they can roll over their current 401k.
Yeah.
Or if you do retire, you can roll it over, but some people don't retire before 59 and a half.
What about people who are listening who are past 59 and a half and they're like, gosh, I just must have missed the boat, or maybe they've recently retired? Can you still help them?
Absolutely. We help anybody, whether you're retired or pre-retirement. It doesn't matter. So come to this event, ladies and gentlemen. We are filling up fast. Come, and Annie, I only talk for 45 minutes.
Yes. I know. I do stress to folks that if you do go, it's this Tuesday, May 20th. It's at the Frontenac Hilton. Wonderful room. He provides snacks and drinks, which is always nice to be able to have free. The event is free. The snacks are free. But I'll be there from 6 to 6:30. We'll kind of introduce Thomas and Bob and Tammy, and then we turn it over to them. And then what are you out of there, like 7:15?
7:30.
7:30.
We start at
sure.
6:30, but remember we do a little trivia. So about 15 minutes. I start about 6:45 and I end at 7:30. I'm only talking for 45 minutes, and you're out the door. You can get home and have dinner.
Exactly. So it's not a droning on evening. You're not a hostage in this situation.
So folks, go to retirementkey.com, sign up. Again, that's retirementkey.com, or call 314-993-9494.
All right, you heard the man. I'll see you there this Tuesday, May 20th at the Frontenac Hilton. Thomas, thanks for coming in. It's good to have you.
Thanks for having me, Annie.
All right, we'll be right back. Don't go away. RulerFoods.com. At Ruler Foods, they know what their customers love, and I know what I love about Ruler Foods is saving money. And they're bringing the favorites that you have out there for you to put in your cart for less. So Kroger sour cream for taco night, tortillas. You can get Hamburger Helper, a hearty home-style meal for less. Make sure that you reach out to them and save on all of these things, 3 items for just $5. If you are looking for a way to make the kids happy, make everybody happy, taco night is always the way to go. In our house, for sure, we have Taco Tuesday, Taco Wednesday, Taco Thursday. It's just the easiest thing to do, and everybody gets to make what they like. Go to Ruler Foods and fill that cart up for less. You can get the name brands that you love, but you can also enjoy Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices. Get more of what you love for less when you shop at Ruler Foods. You can find the one that's closest to you easily by going online, throwing your zip code in there, and you'll realize, wow, there are a lot of them around this area. It's all online at rulerfoods.com.
Imagine this, a summer evening, relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design, because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesideRD.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
Love Talk Radio? We want to hear from you. Help shape the future of your favorite shows right here in St. Louis. Tell us what you love, what you skip, and what you want more of, because your voice matters. You'll be helping us make better radio for you and the entire St. Louis community. It's easy to sign up, and selected panelists will receive a special gift as a thank you. Visit 971talk.com/feedback to join the conversation today. That's 971talk.com/feedback.
Do you ever wonder if you've saved enough money to retire? Well, you can find out how you can make your money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. Hey, it's Sue Thomas, and this is a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects. They have decades of financial planning experience, and they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You will learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing your Social Security income, paying for health care, all of it. And there's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. Now, there are a handful of openings for the classes this month and next. Just register by calling 314-947-2012. 314-947-2012. It's the Sue Thomas number, 314-947-2012.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Supreme Court arguments over an executive order. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. But the case about birthright citizenship is also about a larger issue. District rulings blocking the order nationwide.
Before justices heard a bit about the merits of the order, they first considered at length whether lower court judges can issue nationwide injunctions. In other words, stop something from taking effect, as was done here, while the issues play out in court. And justices, including Elena Kagan, were concerned about the way some district courts have acted.
Because of the forum selection process, a party goes to one place. You know, in the first Trump administration, it was all done in San Francisco. And then in the next administration, it was all done in Texas. Right. And there is a big problem that is created by that mechanism.
Some of the justices, including Kagan, grew frustrated with the U.S. Solicitor General John Sauer's argument that if people want a broad decision, they should seek class action status. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
The president wants to end automatic citizenship for U.S.-born babies whose parents are illegal immigrants. A brief hearing in federal court in Wisconsin, where Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan pleads not guilty to 2 counts, including obstruction, accused of helping a criminal suspect who's in the U.S. illegally evade ICE agents outside her courtroom.
Her defense team is arguing this case should be dropped altogether because they claim she has judicial immunity for her official acts, which they argue includes removing anyone from her courtroom who could disrupt it. And while they cite the Supreme Court's ruling last year in the presidential immunity case against then former President Trump, legal experts question how far those immunity claims can actually go.
Fox's Garrett Tenney in Milwaukee. President Trump on the final planned stop of his Mideast trip, the United Arab Emirates.
But probably going back to Washington, D.C. tomorrow.
He had floated a stop in Turkey for Ukraine peace talks, but now says he doesn't think movement will happen until he meets with Russia's president, who didn't show, for direct talks with Ukraine's leader. America's listening to Fox News.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
No question, an early summer feel. 93 for the high this afternoon, 94 the record from 1944. Partly to mostly sunny skies, a little windy, just a slight chance of a spot late day thunderstorm. All is quiet tonight. Partly cloudy, 63. Friday, partly sunny, 91. Couple of scattered late day thunderstorms on Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate, paid for by Bayer.
Air Comfort Service, man, if you need pure air in your house right now, that's not even the one I'm supposed to talk about today, but I'm throwing it out there because we've got allergies in our household, and being able to breathe comfortably and easy in your home helps purify all of that. Air Comfort Service can put in a whole home air purifier for you to help you fight all of that crap that's floating around outside right now that's getting into your system and making you feel like crap. 314-513-0091. What I do want to tell you about today specifically is the fact that all of those residential services I talked to you about, did you know that Air Comfort Service also helps with commercial business HVAC needs? So if you have heating and cooling concerns, if you have insulation concerns, if you need a check of the ventilation in your business and you need to make sure that the air is getting where it needs to be, all of these types of things that I talked to you about with your home and having your comfort zone in your home safe and secure, Air Comfort Service can do that for you, for your business as well. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. AirComfortService.com.
Are you looking for an easy way to get a daily detox? Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox. To keep you healthy and feeling your best, you can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
You know, we grew up in a time where Congress people were kind of untouchable, and they lived in a world that you could only kind of see through the lens of network news. There wasn't cable news widely accessible in the 80s, the 90s when we were growing up. And now we have, it's a celebrity status of sorts from people who are in Congress. And today on our YouTube poll, we're asking if you've ever fallen asleep on the job, because if a congressperson fell asleep during a vote in 1992, chances are there'd be no video of it. I mean, C-SPAN would still exist, so maybe the video would possibly be out there, but I don't think you'd get the visual.
In 92, that might have been, maybe. Either that's a news story on every local news channel as they're just going to break because it's not really a big thing, or it doesn't touch it at all.
Yeah, I don't. Like, maybe everybody was sleeping in the 90s. maybe that's just the way people rolled in the 80s, the 90s, everything before that. But now with social media, even if that story happened before A, the internet, and then B, of course, follow up to the internet is social media, stuff like this would happen. And it wouldn't, if you have an image, and even more so a video of something like this happening, that is hugely damning and damaging politically. Because the next time Debbie Dingell is up for election, and she's in the House, which means she's up for election every 2 years, I mean, those political ads write themselves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a verb. It's going to be called getting dingled. What? What?
Weird. It makes me think of the Diddy case, but I don't want to talk about that.
You don't want to
yet.
talk about that either?
I do, but I don't. It's too complicated.
Were any of them getting dingled?
It depends on what your definition of the word dingle is. So we've got Congress people now who are celebrities. We've got people who are in Congress, and they can utilize social media, you know, of course, to the detriment of Debbie Dingell and these fortunate other two people. One of them's name is Moore. He's the Republican. But the other folks don't have as memorable of names. So even we have forgotten them. But there was an Illinois Republican, or excuse me, an Illinois Democrat, Debbie Dingell from Michigan, and then Moore, who is the Republican. All three in the last 36 hours have fallen asleep on the job. And the internet and social media is going to be very much detrimental to them in the coming days, potentially the next election. Then you have Congressman Tim Burchett from Tennessee, and he uses the internet for purposes like
How
this.
can you assure the American people Medicaid won't be denied?
How can you assure your Nana that you still support her after she told you that chocolate milk is not coming from brown cows?
The chocolate milk is not what?
How can you support your Nana after she tells you chocolate milk doesn't come from brown cows?
Okay.
Also a
Okay.
congressman.
Yeah, he didn't fall asleep, though. That we know of.
This is a guy. So, if you if you've seen this video, or if you're able to see it here with us, the interesting thing about this, if you've never been to Washington, D.C., this is one of the things that I consider the most beneficial to my experience. This was the third time I've been to D.C. in a year. The first time was with my son's 8th grade trip. First time I'd ever been, and did 2 nights, 3 days, 100% of the time, like tourist, just the full-on tourist. Like we went to Gettysburg and did a bus tour through Gettysburg and everything, which is not in D.C., obviously. But I loved that my first experience there was just a guided tour the whole time. And then the next time, my husband and I went in July, and we picked and chose the things that you could just walk into or get to yourself and experience, like the Lincoln Memorial and so on and so forth. But having been at the Capitol and walked around there and understand how accessible this guy would be, Congressman Burchett, on the streets of D.C., like this guy who's obsessed with Burchett keeps following him around. And so he's got to be thinking of his next shot that he's going to take, the congressman, at this guy when he shows up. And then he's like, I'm going to make a joke about chocolate milk coming from brown cows. And then it's on the internet. And then we're talking about it. It's a powerful thing, the internet. It is. The YouTube live chat poll for today is, have you ever fallen asleep on the job? Yes or no? Is Ethan coming back in? Or is he still helping?
He's supposed to come back in.
Get back in here, Ethan.
Yeah.
What?
The other situation is solved.
Okay, Ethan. Is he sleeping?
He might be.
He was. We woke him up.
Wake up! Oh, there he is. What do you have? Are you
He's got
drinking
chalky
chocolate
milk.
You goofball.
That was fast.
Yeah, it was very fast. Did you just have that? That's so crazy. Brad's sabotaging you. Brian, we'll ask you first. So we've seen it happen in Congress. If it can happen in Congress, it can happen anywhere. You ever fallen asleep on the job?
I'm proud to report that I have not.
Never?
I have never fallen asleep on the job. However,
Yeah, there's a big butt coming in here.
there's a giant butt.
And it's yours.
Yeah, barely fit it through the door. This turn is interesting because I have seen somebody fall asleep on the job
Yeah?
once, and it was in broadcasting.
Here?
And no,
Was it me?
It was not here, and it was
Okay.
not you. It was in broadcasting. He was not on the air, but we were in a meeting with the whole staff.
So he fell asleep in a meeting?
He fell asleep in a meeting,
Did
and they did the whole Moore thing where they went to him. Okay, your turn. I won't say his name.
Did they know he was sleeping?
No, I think he was just kind of leaning down, and they went to him and like, oh, your turn to talk for whatever it was, and it was like,
Do you know if the circumstances of John Doe at said broadcasting meeting, was there anything going on in his life that would kind of explained? If you've got
Was he a new dad?
If you got a new baby at home, I think you can fall asleep anywhere once, maybe twice, and people will totally understand it. Maybe you've got a family member that you're taking care of, or a particular extenuating circumstance that might cause you to doze off because you're still showing up to work, but you're burning the candles completely at both ends. Did this guy have any of that?
no,
Okay.
not anything. I mean, he might have had some stuff going on,
Not
but
that
I don't think
it
it was
wasn't
anything
public
anybody knew
knowledge.
about.
But you've never fallen asleep at work.
I've never fallen asleep. And the other time that it was a temptation was I worked at a few golf courses before I got into my career. And there was a really wonderful place up in the rafters where all the cart boys said, there needs to be a bed right there. And then somebody went up into the rafters because it was easy to get to. There was like a way you could kind of hop and get up there. Somebody actually went up into the rafters at this golf course and put a plank with a bed. Now, the rumor was that among all of us cart boys was that sometimes one of the guys would go up there. Now, I never saw him do it.
Was the bed for sleeping?
Yeah, it was for sleeping.
Okay, just checking.
Not yeah.
The cart boys.
No, and let me tell you why it couldn't have been anything else, and why it was even dangerous
a
to
little
sleep
fragile.
up there. It was a narrow plank, and there was a little bed on there.
Yeah.
But if you fell asleep,
And
you
roll over?
could die. And so anything else that was going on up there was not possible.
Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Brad?
I've never fallen asleep at work, but I have fallen asleep at school on multiple occasions, and it always ends up with the rest of the class, and sometimes the teacher included, pranking me.
Really?
Yes.
Uh-oh, here comes another bad
So
Brad
are
story.
you like snoring, sleeping?
I don't know, because I'm asleep.
Time out. Ryan, do you snore
Yes.
a lot? Like, is it?
It's pretty bad.
Brad, do you snore?
I used to up until August, and then Dr. Hardiman fixed that for me.
And
so
you don't snore at all
I
anymore?
don't snore anymore. My wife pointed that out.
Ethan, do you snore?
More like super light, like very heavy breathing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So did you snore super? That was before August. Did
well-
you snore in class?
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, Brad.
That's not good.
Yeah, it's bad. One time, they all just got up and left. That's one of the ones the teacher was in on. They all just got up and left.
Is this how many times? Wait, what year?
Junior year?
Junior year. What class?
Was it it was a history class.
Were the lights out?
No.
They left the note. They left the note on the chalkboard.
Listen. I was working at Taco Bell, and there were late night shifts. Wouldn't get off till
Blaming
11.
a lot of things on Taco Bell today.
Listen, man. My life in high school, my life consisted of going to Taco Bell to work and going to school, and that was
And
about
going
it.
to Taco Bell to eat.
Yeah. Well, I just ate while I was there working. So, but yeah, it was a late night shift, and I didn't get out of work until 12:30, and then you get home, and you can't just go home and fall asleep because you
I'm
stink.
surprised that they let you. they let you work that late.
Stink of
at that
Mexican
age.
food.
Your class should have all left articles of clothing around so that you thought the rapture had happened.
That is not something you're getting on any other show, on any other station in this market.
I don't know if it actually would happen that way.
If you come to the radio for rapture content,
But that's the way it was in Left Behind.
it's coming from Ryan, not from me.
If you turn on the stream and there's just clothes laying in our chairs.
If you had woken up and
I'm
like,
not a.
Oh my God, they're all gone.
I'm not a
And
believer
naked.
in the rapture. So, do you go naked?
well, that's the way Left Behind portrayed it. So that's the way it must be.
Or you could have woken up and everybody could have taken off their clothes but
Okay,
stayed.
there are two Left Behinds. The first one was with Kirk Cameron in the 90s, and that's the one with all the clothes. I don't remember the Nicolas Cage one.
So Kirk Cameron, they didn't go naked in Kirk Cameron's, right?
Well, if you got raptured, you were naked in heaven, I guess.
Why?
I don't know. That was a wardrobe choice they made in the movie.
That's quite a choice, Kirk. I thought
I don't
better
know
of
that
him.
I don't know that he was the one making
Oh,
that
I
choice.
think he was making choices.
Maybe. But in the second one, this is the reboot of Left Behind, Nicolas Cage's version. Has anybody
Left
seen
Behind
that one?
That's
again.
the one that I have
Left Behind,
seen.
Nick's version.
Now, there's a whole bunch of Left Behind.
Is that Armageddon?
Tribulation Force and all the other ones. But the new one, the reboot,
Didn't see this being part of this conversation today. I don't know anything about this. This is very helpful.
the Nicolas Cage version, it's really just an action movie. There's not much theological content in it at all.
So you're telling me in the Nicolas Cage movie, you're raptured with your clothes?
I don't
And
remember.
in the Kirk Cameron one, you're raptured without your clothes?
I can't tell you for a fact that you don't have your clothes in the Nicolas Cage one either.
Again, I'm not a person who believes in the idea of the rapture. However, I'd be curious what scripture is used to suggest that maybe we all go naked.
I don't know that there's a specific scripture that references the clothing.
Sounds fishy to me. That is quite an editorial decision. But what if everybody went and they were in the nude?
I'm trying to find some images. I see a
Pretty
lot of nice screenshots, but I don't see
I
any
think
of the
that
clothing.
the coolest, the funniest thing to do was when the rapture happens. If you get raptured, you go to heaven with your clothes. If you don't get raptured, then you get to lose your clothes. Dang it! It's like just your clothes.
clothes
get
go to
raptured.
heaven.
So everybody who's left here is just naked.
Well, that would be a separate theological event.
That sounds to me
In the
as
twinkling
it sounds
of
to
an
me
eye.
as editorial as the other decision.
Yep. Yeah, the people that were left behind should have lost everything because Nicolas Cage said so. I'm just feeling times I'm looking at images right now, and I cannot find. Oh yeah, okay. Nicolas Cage Left Behind. There's clothes. It says the end is near, the end is here, and there's clothes on the ground. No people.
Now,
There
are
we
you
go.
Googling Kirk Cameron naked rapture? That might never have been Googled before. That might be the first time a phrase has
I
ever
wasn't,
been
but
Googled.
now I will.
Robert and Steve might be calling you into their office later.
Kirk Cameron.
Listen, we found some
naked
interesting
rapture.
thing.
Tell me more
on
about
your
this
search
rapture.
history during one of the later segments of the show today.
Ethan, have you ever fallen asleep on the job?
Yes.
Have you ever fallen asleep on this job? Ooh, there's a hesitation.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Kind of.
So I
It's like
know
a dozing.
I know that in the last year when you were working with the Cardinals, that you were running in a million directions, and that can take a toll.
Yeah, those were like 15-hour days. Those were long.
What's the worst sleeping on the job
so
story you have?
I'll start with my first
And by
job.
worst, I mean best.
One of my first jobs was working as at the Village of Bethalto Public Works.
Uh-huh.
So you're there
It's
at
one of those
7.
government jobs that you're
there
sleeping on. You're just
there
like the
You're there
Congress
at
people.
7, and you're weed eating all day. And if you get a break, and you have a pause in the tasks that you have to do, then you are just slumping in the truck.
Yeah.
Like just
You need
hiding.
to get doged.
Huh?
For all that sleeping on the job.
Yeah, actually, one time we were just sitting there it's Steve Bryant Park
Yeah.
on Colt Plain in Bethalto.
Uh-huh.
And we were sitting there in the truck. We had just finished. We were just waiting to go to the next spot. And a guy walks up to us that I knew. And he says, "So this is what my tax dollars are being used for."
That was probably.
And I was like, "Dude, I'm 16. Shut up. Please, dude."
That man went on to be Chip
Was
Roy.
Was your response really? I'm 16.
No, that's why I said after, maybe with a couple of other choice words. But during, I was just
You
like,
cussed at him?
no, I said after when he walked away. But during,
It's
I was
like we're not
I was
even
just like,
listening.
I was just kind of like, okay. What am I supposed to say? It's a dude that's 3 times my age, like passive aggressively saying that to me. I didn't know what to do. I'm 16.
I fell asleep in class a lot, and I've talked on the air about now being a bad sleeper. I've always been able to stay up really late, and then always been really tired in the morning. So I slept in class a lot. I never had anything embarrassing happen to me. A lot of the you jump in your seat and then you try to play it off like you have an itch on your ankle or something like that, or you're resting on your hand and your hand falls and you sit right up and you're like, did anyone see that? And you're like, of course, everybody saw that. But half the class was sleeping too.
So I got to share my most recent one.
Yeah.
I'm outing myself a little bit here. So this was not long ago.
During Sue's News.
No way.
So you guys had a guest on, and I was done with all of my tasks getting ready for the Mark Reardon show, which occurs right after this. And I said, you know what? Like, there's nothing going on right now. I slept terribly. I'm like, I'm gonna just kind of lean back in my chair for a minute. I'm just gonna get comfy just for a second. I'm just gonna
How
close my eyes for
recently
a
is
second. This was in the last 4 weeks. I was like, all right, I'm just a couple minutes. I just this will get me through the next few hours. And the next thing I know, I hear Steve Moore saying, "You getting comfy there?" I was something like that. We bored you to
You're
sleep.
like, no, you can
And I
do a
was
lot more for the comfort in this chair.
Not at all. I was like, oh God, that was terrible. I'm
Steve's
never
not
doing
the
that
guy
again.
you want to have find you sleeping.
No.
That is our boss, by the way.
Yeah.
If you don't know who that is.
So thankfully, I was just kind of dozing. I wasn't out cold, because as soon as I heard the footsteps and I heard I was wired. I was immediately wide awake, but it was still enough that he made a comment. I was like, oh, that sucks. So Steve, if you're hearing this, I'm a hard worker and I love my job and I appreciate everyone here.
We appreciate Ethan. You're good even when you're sleeping. We'll take it. All right. Trisha coming in. Is that right?
Yes.
Annie, are you okay next? We haven't done this in a couple weeks.
Quick update. Kirk Cameron Naked Rapture does not produce much that's interesting. There's some pictures of
I
his
guess it
childhood home and stuff. I don't
Depends
know.
on
It's weird.
it depends on what kind of content you find interesting, I suppose.
Yeah. There's some old footage of him from
Hey, make me a deal.
sitcoms where he's on the phone being cute.
If you find any more interesting content, just Keep it to yourself. No more updates. We're good on that. Trisha in studio with us for Annie, Are You Okay? Next.
Nothing's gonna happen.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
The Dittamore Group online at thedittamoregroup.com. You have the very best when it comes to real estate agents and this team at the Dittamore Group with RE/MAX Alliance. When you call them at 618-531-4652, that's 618-531-4652, you're tapping into 50 plus years of experience, of understanding what the market is going to bear, of being able to price your home right for a top dollar sale. If you're looking for a home, understanding everything that's available right now and being able to partner you with the home of your dreams and getting it for the price that is fair. 618-531-4652. That's 618-531-4652. The Dittamore Group is the #1 team in the #1 office in the Metro East. So you know you're working with winners, people who are going to advocate for you, be honest with you, and I'm just going to be honest. You're going to have fun with the folks at the Dittamore Group. Call Tammy, Zach, Pat, Abby, and Trisha at 618-531-4652 today. Find them online at thedittamoregroup.com.
You know how you always want to know about everyone else's money? On the podcast, What We Spend, guests will, for 1 week, tell us everything they spend their money on.
My son slammed $6 worth of blueberries in 5 minutes.
And everything that makes them feel.
I want to own a house. I want to have a child. But this morning, I really wanted a coffee.
Because at the end of the day, money is always about more than your balance. Listen to and follow What We Spend, an Odyssey original podcast. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600. Or on the website, bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLHonorFlight.org. And for HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Our YouTube live chat poll is closed today. Go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, come say hi, and tell us, have you ever fallen asleep on the job? Like the people in Congress. Trisha's in here with us. Hi, Trisha.
Hi, Annie and crew.
Have you ever fallen asleep on the job?
I have. Yeah, back in the day. Those mornings were very, very tough when I was in my early 20s.
How many years did you produce the morning show on the station?
10 on site. Yeah. And that was like it depended on my level of motivation. As when I grew in my career, I'd get here at 3 probably. So by 7, you've been working for a while and that fatigue starts to set in, Yeah. Yeah. It's not great.
If you never fell asleep, if you said you never did, I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah. Well, and there was a couple of times where it happened involuntarily. Like I'd be working in the back in a dark studio.
You never fell asleep while you're running the board, did you?
No, I have not done. I have not done that. Not sleeping at the wheel. But then there were the times where I was so tired, but I had a meeting or something I had to go to in an hour, so I voluntarily slept.
Back then, did you call that dingling, or is that something we just do now?
That's new.
That's
to me,
more recent.
at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Annie, are you okay? You ready for it? All right.
And now it's time to play Is Annie Okay With This?
New Orleans police find naked man in display shed at Lowe's.
Rapture?
On Mother's Day of all days.
No, that's just a clothing rapture. He was still here. He was in a shed.
That might be what happened.
How awful if everybody all of a sudden was naked.
Ooh.
Ooh.
What do you do in that? Like,
You get in a shed.
Yeah.
At Lowe's.
That's what he thought had happened.
That's what he thought happened. I don't think that's what he thought. Authorities were dispatched to New Orleans Lowe's after they received a call about a naked man in one of the tool sheds. When they arrived, they had to search several before they found him. He was naked, but there was also Vaseline and an electronic device nearby.
What do you mean electronic device?
What, was it like
That's
a power
all.
washer?
I don't know. Or a phone. I don't know. I was the same way. Like, what are we doing in there? He was arrested.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, without incident. So that's kind of the end of the
Can't
story.
wait for
But
this
Annie,
commercial.
are you okay with hardware stores?
Yes.
Oh, good. Wait, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Was he repentant? Huh?
Nate, you know what? That's really between you and the Lord.
See?
Was
See?
he repentant?
Was he repentant of his crimes? That's what you do, you know. You repent.
Is it
During
Rapture Joe?
During the closed rapture. UK employee compared to Darth Vader at work wins $40,000 in compensation.
He works in media.
Employees, it's a she. Employees at the National Health Services blood
So
and
it was a
transplant
sexist thing.
sector. Well, they were asked to take a Star Wars themed personality test as a
Wait.
team building exercise.
Whoa.
This did not go the way the company had hoped.
I'm sorry, but there has never been a good team building exercise in existence.
Trust falls.
Moreover, the woman in question had actually stepped out of the room to take a phone call, and her colleagues took the test for her. The results concluded she was like Darth Vader.
This is exactly what you guys would do to me.
I don't know why we haven't done this.
Yeah. If you do it tomorrow, it's not going to be as funny as it would have been if you did it yesterday. But you would totally do that to me.
Yeah, we'll do that to you.
So it was a team building exercise.
They had to take a personality quiz, and there was like 16 different options they could fall into, all Star Wars character
And
related.
this was put into motion by the business,
The company. Yeah,
and so the
thinking it would be
company,
fun.
the company put into existence the opportunity for someone to find out they're Darth Vader.
Well, in fairness, Darth Vader was described in the quiz as a very focused individual who could accelerate team synergy.
What?
But the woman got her feelings hurt.
So was Hitler.
The woman got her feelings hurt and a court involved, and she was awarded $40,000 for detriment.
From the company?
Yeah.
How long did it go on? Was it just that day, or was it like weeks later they're still doing the Imperial March when she walks by?
That I don't know. I don't know.
Is she still working there?
She worked there for a month after, and she said that this was part of the reason she quit, is how it was worded.
See, okay.
I don't know.
The natural inclination here is to feel sorry for her, I think.
No.
Nah, not me.
Yeah, me either.
I think that's crazy.
Yeah, she should have owned that.
I would have been like, heck yeah, I'm full of team
my own
synergy
speaker, I'd have been
and
playing the Imperial
focus.
March.
So you think that she leaves the room to take a phone call and they do this to her and then they laugh at her, but you think she deserves it?
Now you're making it sound like bullying.
Yeah, you added the word deserves. I don't think she deserves
Now you're
it.
throwing around she's asking for it.
But once
We're
it
all-
happens, you just kind of go
I
along
just
with
think
it.
that if you do something like this to somebody and you know that they'll think it's funny, then it's funny. But if you can't do something like this to somebody that at the end it's not 100% guaranteed that they would laugh at it.
So I could do it to Ryan, but not Brad.
Yeah.
Well, now there's precedent, and I'd just sue the company.
Yeah. Ryan's like, would you please?
Yeah.
But
Do
I
it.
was thinking that the
I'm
inclination
just
would
kidding,
be
Brad. I
to
wouldn't do it to
feel
either of you.
sorry for her that they would have done this to her. But then I was actually thinking, but what if she deserved it? So
Well,
have you ever worked with somebody who's completely awful?
No.
No, not here.
Not here.
Not anybody
No, never.
here. Don't
Never.
get the courts involved.
Yeah.
Everybody's
No,
great.
not yeah.
Everybody's super great.
Everybody's great.
It's a joy to come to work every day.
Especially on record.
You're all like Han
Publicly.
Solo if he's the best one.
Public airwaves.
Except Ethan. That guy's like Darth Vader.
He's more Anakin Skywalker, like pre-Darth.
Okay, early Darth.
Yeah, early. Annie, are you okay with personality tests?
Yeah, I like personality tests. I don't really need other people to take them for me. I'm not really digging that option. I am an INFP in the Myers-Briggs one. I love talking about Myers-Briggs personality tests. I think they're incredibly interesting, and you cannot talk about the Myers-Briggs test with people not going, that's not clinically accurate and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, there's probably a personality category for people like you. Do you know what you are? We've done this before.
I think in Myers-Briggs, I'm an OPP. Yeah, you know me.
I thought you were more AARP.
I regret my question.
So yes, that's it.
Hit the button.
Yeah. Woo! Kentucky mom shocked after son orders 70,000 Dum-Dum suckers from Amazon. It was Ryan's mom. The woman says
Dum-Dums aren't that good though.
They're better than you think.
The woman said, well, that's going to be the question, guys. Hold on. The woman said she tried stopping her 8-year-old when he told her he wanted to have a carnival and order them for his friends. She said no. But at some point, he had her phone and placed the order. 22 cases arrived before she realized.
He knew what he was doing?
Hmm? Yeah.
I like how she tried to stop him but couldn't.
Yeah,
there was no stopping.
I'm failing this.
No, don't do that. Don't order 10 cases of Dum-Dums.
Oh, he did it.
What am I going to do now?
Don't you just send them back?
No, you just have the carnival at that point.
They actually let her keep most of the cases, but they refunded her the more than $4,000.
$4,000 for the Dum-Dums is just angry. It makes me mad.
She has since changed the settings on her account. Annie, are you okay with Dum-Dums?
Yeah, they're super small, which to give a Dum-Dum to a kid a lot of times, that's what you get at the bank when they send stuff in for your kids.
It was always an exciting bank trip.
Yeah.
You got a Dum-Dum.
I don't mind giving that treat out because it's not that significant of a piece of candy, but
I always got safety pops.
What?
Remember those? They had the full. It was not just a stick.
Ooh, it was like the circle at the bottom. Those were
and
good
they would get
too.
all mushy by the
Is that
end.
what they were called? Safety
They were called
pops?
safety pops.
Do they make those?
Because you couldn't swallow the stick if you were like a dumb kid.
If you were a dum-dum.
That's why they call it Dum-Dum.
Gen Z will almost always go for the spiciest thing on the menu, but can't always handle it.
Gen Z is Ethan's age.
Okay.
A recent study of 2,000 participants found that 18 to 28-year-olds have the highest tolerance for spicy food, with 40% claiming a high spice threshold. The research revealed that 1 in 10 younger adults...
because they don't have heartburn yet.
So true. So true.
Don't get her started.
Don't even get her started.
I don't have heartburn either, but I know people are having some Prilosec near in handy.
Some omezparol. Go on.
The research revealed that 1 in 10 younger adults always chose the hottest item on the menu, and over half were willing to showcase their spice tolerance. Despite this, nearly half would pretend to enjoy spicy food to avoid appearing weak.
Yep. You know what I did once? This is a Buffalo Wild Wings story that has nothing to do with the one that we told earlier about Annie accosting that waitress.
I didn't.
But I went to Buffalo Wild Wings. I think a Mesperol got her.
Gone.
I don't know why.
Due to Annie. It's okay, Annie. Annie, are you okay?
She's not. No, play the sound.
Are you
She's
okay,
not.
Annie?
She's not okay. There we go. I went to Buffalo Wild once when I was in college.
Buffalo Wild?
Or right after. I was
Buffalo
right at
Wild?
that age. And I laughed so hard at something my friend said that a Caribbean jerk wing went up into my sinuses. And I couldn't get it out. I could not get it out. And I cried and cried, first because it was funny, and then because it was hot. I mean, having Caribbean jerk stuck up there and just kind of rattling around.
What'd you do?
I just kept trying to blow my nose, and then it became funny because
you
Ryan can't get the
inhaled
wing
it and
out.
then tried to push it out your nose?
Yeah, because it was way up there. And so it wasn't until
Like
later
a
that
nutty
night when
pot
I
or
got
something?
home and took a shower, I finally blew that thing out.
How much of this wing was up there?
It was a good portion. I took a picture of
Bone or no
I
bone?
took a picture of it next to a penny.
What did she just
I took a picture of the
I
wing
said
portion.
bone or no bone?
There was no bone. There's no bone. But I was like, man, that thing is huge. My friends aren't going to believe
It's
it.
like a chunk of chicken.
So I pulled out my little flip phone. I took a picture of it next to a penny in the shower to show them how big it was.
But it was bigger than a booger. They could tell it wasn't.
Oh, yeah. It was a piece of chicken. It wasn't breaded
I'm
anymore.
assuming all the spice was still up in the sinuses.
It was all gone. Yeah,
Did
it
you
was
breathe
something.
well? Pretty well?
Oh, after
from
that, it felt wonderful. I don't know that I ever breathed clearer in my life after that moment.
It's great. It's
kinda-
actually like a really positive story once you got past the initial shock of it all.
I know. That's why I told it.
Annie, are you okay with spicy food?
Yeah.
And finally,
It is so hot in here right now. My gosh. Come on, Steve. Get
Not
it
as
going.
hot as my nose was
I don't want to know.
from Caribbean jerk. The breading was still up there.
Oh.
You have any more?
no, I do. One more story. Woman hangs by her hair for 25 minutes to break
Whoa.
world record.
What a dum-dum. Why?
A
She should have
professional
had a safety pop.
A professional circus performer who specializes in hair hanging broke a Guinness World Record when she was suspended by her bun for 25 minutes and 11.3 seconds.
Was she just hanging?
Yeah, it was like, so you could, there's a video online if you want to go watch it.
Oh, I do.
There's like a hook through her bun and she's hanging from a tree and she's just kind of hanging out there. It looks horrible. I'm actually having a hard time thinking about it. Ian, are you okay with circuses?
I wouldn't want to go to one.
I've been to one.
I feel like
Have
I
you
have.
been to one? Have you ever been to a circus?
No. I've been to Storybook Circus.
I've been to the one in St. Louis that comes through. I can't remember the name of it every now and then. And I was surprised by how few animals are in them anymore.
Well, that's a whole thing.
I know. It's all people doing stuff, like acting like animals and stuff. I'm like, that's not cool.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Ryan, for doing that segment for me. I appreciate it.
I got probably another whole segment on circuses if you want.
Uh-huh. Yep. When we come back. Woo! Almost done. YouTube live chat poll. Have you ever fallen asleep on the job? Yes or no? This one's close. Come vote. Tell us what you think. Tell us your story, too, if you have ever fallen asleep. Ripper said, I nodded off a couple times for a second or two as a young man. Never full-blown sleep, like, shake it off, take some deep rest kind of thing. I think that while we watch congressmen and women falling asleep on the job, that's a little less acceptable. But I bet a lot more people, everybody who's judging it, I'm just curious how many of us have actually done it ourselves. Weigh in on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
ArtisticDex.net. I want you to reach out to Artistic Dex at 314-280-0821, 314-280-0821, and start planning the deck of your dreams. Extend that living space in your home outdoors. And, in St. Louis, you can use that outdoor space at least 3 seasons of the year. Enjoy the nice, cool, crisp air in the fall, but also the nice spring breeze, the warm breeze right now here in St. Louis on that beautiful deck, customized for your home by Artistic Decks. You can ask them about their discount for decks that are 500 square feet or larger. Of course, they're insured, and when you call them at 314-280-0821, you can talk to them about free design and consultation and work with people who understand exactly how to deliver what it is you've been dreaming about at an affordable price. 314-280-0821, 314-280-0821, online at artisticdex.net.
What does Del Walmsley, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, think you need to succeed in this market?
It's time to buy, and so you better get prepared, you better get educated, you better get your money right. You need to get involved because you're going to need the financing. You're going to need the vendors that we have available to us. You're just going to need the interaction with people. You need to immerse yourself into real estate.
Start your real estate immersion with a free workshop live online at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, May 20th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and worried about the market volatility and losses at this stage in your life? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell?
Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event. Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, at the Frontenac Hilton on Tuesday, May 20th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
If you're looking for the best eye care in St. Louis, look no further than the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer. Make your appointment today at youridoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
Have you ever fallen asleep on the job? We're about to find out the results of this poll, whether it's over 50% have or haven't. I really don't know how this is going to go. So stick around. We'll give you the results of this YouTube live chat poll in just a few minutes. Have you ever fallen asleep on the job? 2:43. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Yo, come on, move this. Shake that body. Shake that body. Shake that body. Shake that body. People, don't you know?
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Man, I think it's really hot outside. I know it's warm in here, but I don't know if we officially did tip into the 90s today. That was a possibility.
Yesterday, Dave Murray said it was supposed to get up to possibly 93 and could touch 94, which would be a record. I don't know if we got there, though.
Are you excited about warm weather?
No, I don't like it at all. I really wish it would stay in the maxing out at the upper 60s.
You need to move north.
Yeah, I guess I do.
That's never going to happen.
Or just stay here in the winter, because in the winter it's colder.
What?
Well, the summer here it gets warmer. I don't know if you're aware, and so I could just sort of do seasonal travel.
I feel like I shouldn't be, but I'm really confused.
Yeah, you should be, because it is the most basic fact that you learn when you're probably one, the seasons of the earth. And I was just repeating that.
It's not really the seasons that I am confused about. It's just really more your application of them to this conversation that I am a little not following the path of.
Well, I would just go north in the summer and then go south in the winter.
Yeah.
And kind of stay in that 60s zone.
Yeah.
That's the plan. I got to get rich, though.
First,
I got to get
here?
rich. I don't know.
What are you doing here? Are you planning on doing a lot of travel this summer season?
Yes.
Flying?
We're going to Colonial Williamsburg at the end of this month.
And what are you going to do there?
We're going to check
reenactments?
out Colonial Williamsburg. And
is it your whole fam?
Tri-corner hats and stuff. Probably try some on. Yeah, it's my whole family. And we're all going to see the history of the country.
How often do you go with the whole family on a trip?
At least once a year, we all take a family. Everybody takes one.
So you're flying?
Actually, we're flying into North Carolina, where my cousin lives, and then we're driving the whole eastern seaboard. So we're kind of flying and driving. It's both.
Are you flying home?
Yeah.
So you're flying. You're flying to your destination.
It's a very short flight.
And then your trip is going to be
it's a driving trip after we fly there.
What about you, Brad? Are you flying anywhere?
Yeah, I'm flying to D.C. in June.
That's cool. 6 airplane etiquette rules you might be breaking, according to flight attendants. The Southwest Airlines change in all their member perks and all that stuff has got everybody up in a crazy uproar or whatever. I'll be going to Hawaii at the end of this month, so that will be the first time I've ever had to fly a connecting flight with my family. I've done it before on my own. Always try to avoid it, but there are no nonstop to Honolulu flights from St. Louis, not at least from Southwest. So here are some airplane etiquette rules that you need to follow. It says, do make eye contact and lose the headphones during service. So when they're coming by on the airplane and they're offering you snacks and drinks, or if you're on a flight that's long enough to take other kinds of orders, how do you handle that? Do you wave them off if you're not interested in it? Do you give them your full attention?
I think I give them my full attention every time. And it's not because I'm trying to be nice. I just feel obligated to, because they're there. So yeah, I end up telling them no, or I say something, lets them asleep, which I haven't been on that many long flights to even have that happen.
Yeah, I think it's important to give them your full attention, but you can give your full attention for the sum total of like 7 seconds and then get back to doing whatever it is you're doing. What about you, Brad?
I always give them my full attention. I don't know. If somebody asks me a question, I like to look at them, so I make eye contact. Yes, no, thank you.
All right.
I'll have this.
Here's the next one. Don't recline without warning or rage when someone else does. First question, is it okay at any time to recline your seat?
Yeah, if it's there, that's why it's there. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, and it reclines so little. I just don't even know why you have it.
On a flight like a Southwest Airlines, though, there's not a ton of extra room there. If somebody is 6 feet or taller, that leg room is going to be very precious, and if somebody reclines, it could affect their ability to fly in their own space. Now, it's not your fault that the 6 foot tall plus person sat behind you and you want to recline because you're on a 4-hour flight. Are you reclining?
I want to make sure I'm not missing something. Does it actually affect the leg room of the person behind you, or just their face space? Because it doesn't have to actually shift back, right? It just leans back like a 1/4 inch.
No, it could go into your knees.
Mm-hmm.
Man, maybe I'm doing this wrong. I need to try this out. You can you can recline your seat that far? How did I miss this?
I'm not sure. I'm talking about if you have a tall person behind you and they've got long legs and you recline, you could absolutely be reclining into someone's legs.
I didn't know that. Well, I don't really do it anyway because I don't see the benefit in it. So it's kind of moot for me.
So you're not reclining. You're not a
no,
recliner.
Not really.
Brad?
Yeah, I'm not a recliner either.
Does it bother you if someone in front of you reclines?
No. It bothers me that it's an option because it's so stupid that it goes burp. You're like, wow, now you can go to sleep, buddy.
Vicky says no, recline isn't that far. It doesn't hit their legs. I was on a Southwest flight here recently, and I was sitting next to somebody who was probably 6'2", and the person reclined right into their knees, and I watched it happen. So I think it's an exception to the rule of how many people are going to be affected by it, and it would certainly depend on the plane and the way the plane is structured and how much you're being packed in there. I've never flown Frontier or Spirit. Is that pretty tight?
Spirit is. Frontier, I think, is just it feels pretty normal. Spirit is. It feels like, oh yeah, these seats are not even that comfortable. You're really going low end, but they're newer. The planes are typically newer, so I think in that sense, Spirit's kind of nice.
Joe says decline the recline, and Scooter says reclining is rude. I think it's not cool to recline your seat and move into somebody else's space, but the reclining is there, so I do think that people. It's like you can't really I'm not going to spend a 2-hour or a 4-hour flight just being mad that the other person in front of me is taking up 4 inches of space. And then, if the person in front of you reclines, you can recline, and you could just make it so everybody in that column is mad. I don't know. But it said this Southern Living article says, don't recline without warning. It says reclining your seat is technically your right, but how you do it matters. The biggest etiquette mistake I see is reclining without informing the person behind you.
That's even more awkward.
Or being mad at the person in front for reclining. Seats recline. That's what they're designed to do. I can't imagine being like, I'm going to recline now, and then doing I would be like, shut up, lady. Just do it.
It's yelling out, here I come.
And then slowly you move 4 inches.
Or you do it fast and go, here comes the boom.
If someone was going to say that to me and announce it, but not like an ask, I don't need to know that. I disagree with the...
Start making the truck backing up beeps.
Beep, beep. You can only get through 1.5 beeps.
Oh, I'm done.
Don't dally in the aisle. During boarding, the biggest courtesy you can extend is to keep the line moving. Passengers stopping to unpack or reorganize their bag in the aisle hold up everyone behind them. This is where it's helpful for people if you're trying to load your stuff into the bin at the top. If there are men around that can help lift things up and make this, because sometimes you're trying to hustle in and you're trying to get everything settled, and it can be difficult to lift those bags up overhead. That's where I think gentlemanly men should step in and offer help. Don't take their bag from them, but offer help to put it up there.
Here,
But
I can get that.
Get it done.
I'm like Pete Alonso.
Big strong guy.
Big strong guy.
Do mind your impact on other people's senses. Planes are tight quarters, and respecting others' personal space goes a long way. This is where I feel like you could be an offender, an unwitting offender. Case calls out common offenses like loudspeaker phone calls during boarding, playing videos without headphones, or eating super smelly food.
The food thing I might do. The other
That's
ones I
you.
wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't do the other thing. But like tuna sandwiches or something.
Does that smell bad? See, I don't even know this stuff.
No fish. No fish products.
What if they're offering fish on the flight?
They're not.
It's a long flight, and they're like, "You want some tilapia or you want some orange roughy?"
I don't know if I don't know if they offer fish, but I can't imagine they would if it's fishy smell, because fish does not smell
That's
good.
just on them because they're offering it. It's just like the recliner.
I don't know that they are offering it. I don't know that they aren't. One time when I was in high school, I started to paint my nails on a flight, and that I was told I had to stop. And
by the
flight attendant.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, when they told me like the scent is too strong, I was like, oh, that makes sense. But
What if
I
you're
was
just
15.
wearing really strong cologne or perfume?
Don't do that
so
either.
bad.
Don't do that either. I don't know what they tell you to do about it. Like, do they have to go like sniff people out like a dog trying to find out who
It's
it is?
real easy to find the people wearing the right stuff because it has pheromones.
I don't like the way you said that. Do you gauge receptiveness before engaging seatmates in conversation, Brian? When we flew to Florida, this dude sits down and starts talking to the person next to him, is like giving them my home address. I was like, Ryan, shut up.
I halfway remember that. It was really early.
I remember that.
I'm like, what is he doing?
I don't. What was,
Nix
what,
it.
How did it happen?
I think she was 3 drinks in.
Yeah.
And she was talkative to you.
It
And
was
you
like
just started
5 a.m.
spilling your guts. And you were talking about like where I live.
Well, maybe she wanted to know.
I didn't want anybody to know. Especially when you're leaving St. Louis, like the amount of people who are on that plane who might like be aware of us or who we are. Like, I didn't need them to know my home.
I think I remember. She said, "Is that Annie Fry right
No,
there?"
she didn't say that.
And I said, "Yeah."
No.
You know her from the radio?
No.
And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "You
Don't
want her
say
address?"
don't say something on the air that I don't want you to say. No, that's not how this happens. When it's with Ryan, he'll be like, "Do you know who we are?"
That is not true.
That's Annie
exactly
Fry from the
what it
radio.
was.
You don't know who Annie Fry
I'm
is?
just
Let me
pumping
tell
up
you.
you.
Annie Fry, she's on the show, but the biggest part of the Annie Fry show is me. I'm Ryan Wiggins. You probably already know that.
If that were to happen, that is the way that would happen.
Oh, it
Yeah.
is
But
exactly
it
how
doesn't
it did
happen.
happen.
That does not
She
happen.
was there talking about her daughter, like, oh, yeah, we're on a show trip.
Oh, yeah,
with
we're
our
on a radio show. Check it out. Come by our house. We'll
Last
show you.
one is deplane civilly. I'm going to tell you what, folks. When the plane stops, I'm always trying to sit in the front of the plane as much as possible. But when the plane stops, I'm standing up because I'm tired of standing or of sitting. I'm not trying to race anybody out. I'm not going to scoop anybody on getting out. But I stand up in my area, in my space, just to make sure that I can stretch my legs a little bit. But that drives people crazy, too.
Plus, you got to hunch over if you're on the window seat.
Ethan, you want to hit us with the results of today's YouTube poll?
231 votes on the YouTube live chat poll. Have you ever fallen asleep on the job? Pretty close today. 56% say yes.
Yes, wins.
44% say no.
Yeah. Debbie Dingle for the win. Sorta. Thanks for falling asleep at work, Debbie, so we can make it our poll today. Stick around. The Mark Reardon Show is coming up next. The Annie Fry Show podcast at anniefryshow.com/podcast, or, of course, on the Odyssey app. Don't go away.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. But our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Point Pest Control. Point with an E. If you're reaching out to get rid of the bugs in your house or even in your yard, I'm talking about those nasty, annoying mosquitoes that are hanging around and making you not be able to enjoy that outdoor space when the weather is beautiful as it has gotten warmer. The mosquitoes are eating you up. Well, make sure that you call Point Pest Control, especially for your next event. They can come to your house and they can spray before your outdoor gathering, and then you're not going to have to move that gathering inside. Those tiny mosquitoes will not be there for your event, and you can enjoy your day. Now, when you call Point Pest Control at 636-798-0023, 636-798-0023, you got to mention my name because you're going to save an extra 10% off the discount of any specials that they have going on right then. Annie Fry, that name is going to get you the opportunity to save money. For your mosquitoes, for your spiders, for mice, for whatever you got going on, Point Pest Control is there to help you. 636-798-0023. Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
Homeowners, spring is here, and there's no better time to sell your St. Louis home. But the agent you choose matters. Who should you call? My friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. Hey, it's Mark Cox. Here's why Gloria should be your first call. While the average realtor puts a sign in your yard and hopes it sells, Gloria will guarantee to sell your home for 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference. In this market, you don't want to risk working with someone who doesn't have the guarantees, buyers, or experience to help you sell within your time frame and for the most money. Many realtors will overprice your home to get your business, which can lead to your home sitting on the market with little or no offers and price reductions. If you want to sell your home for 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference, call Gloria Liu today at 314-325-6888 or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000